Hello, everybody! Welcome to Beyond the Realms, episode 44, not 45, because I was corrected. I was including the one-shot, but it's not BTR canon, but it is BTR canon. I'm an idiot. Anyways, welcome to the show, everybody. Good to have you back at our regular campaign and story here on the Dicecream Twitch channel. Last week we took a little bit of a little break because the lovely Saf Ramira was off gambling her life savings away in Vegas. I hope you brought some back for all of us.
I was actually working, or supposed to be working, but it's fine.
I know, I'm just being an idiot.
You were working the entire weekend. All we got was work pictures. You working really hard on spreadsheets. Yeah.
But yeah, so we took a little bit of a break. We did a fun one-shot, Beyond the Realms lore one-shot that took place with the history of Ilya Rilk, one of the party's favorite little NPCs, introducing a new faction into our story and lore known as the Magia Hand and the Emerald Exchange. So really stoked for that. But not much to go off the top, except that two campaign streams are coming your way tomorrow and next week. We got the Phalai D&D stream coming back on the Twitch channel. We've missed these babies so very much, and we're so happy that we finally can get everyone back together again to tell more of Jody Rose's amazing homebrewed story taking place in Wildmount of Critical Role fame. So that'll be tomorrow, I think 5:30 p.m. PST. I'm not really sure what the start time is. It kind of changes, but keep track to the socials for when the start time will be. And I am also a player in that one, playing my Triton best boy, Les Paul of the Triton race. So yes, come over tomorrow for that story. And then next week, starting the next Tuesday, actually, around 5 p.m. PST, we've got the beginning of a brand new campaign that we're going to start streaming here on the Twitch channel. Our own Wild Beyond Witchlight campaign. That's going to include Jennings Brower, Quincy's Tavern, Jackie Elena Chan, that's the one, and Shane Wally. So that's going to be super, super fun. A lot of you were very stoked in the one shot we did, and they had such a great time at Gen Con with that one shot that we decided, let's just fucking go for it and do a fun campaign. So very stoked to dive into the Wild Beyond the Witchlight as well. I've been reading that all week, and I am so fucking stoked. But yeah, so that's all the news going on the Dicecream Twitch channel. But we also have got some fun freaking art things to show you, courtesy of these lovely humans over here. So we will start with Ben. Take it away, Benjamin.
I wasn't ready for that, but okay. I was not ready for that, Benjamin.
I'm nervous.
Okay.
The stream tonight is gonna.
I'm just gonna clip the I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
And I also got to block McDonald's branding.
I got some fun new art commissioned of these lovely friends of mine. I was trying to think what would be a really fun and different thing to get commissioned, and I wanted to get them all as little chibis, and they're all so adorable. I don't know if they're on the screen right now because I'm a little behind on the thing.
I think they are. It's usually like a 5 to 10 second. There they are. Hey.
But look at those little wholesome beans. They're so beautiful.
They're so cute. The artist did an amazing job.
Yes.
Who is the artist, Ben?
The artist is Alina from Mary on Twitter. That is at Arnie_Mary, which is I will put in the chat for you all.
Awesome.
Did an amazing job. They asked me, is there anything you need to change at all? Absolutely perfect. I gave them a couple references, went with it, and it was amazing. And they are so cute and so adorable.
Look at Pharaoh's swords.
And they are great.
Look at the little badass.
Oh, that's awesome. So I think we might be making these emotes in the chat or something like that, possibly.
That would be cool.
I think we have the ability to do that, so we'll work on that for sure.
Say Funko win.
Oh my god! That is the next thing. Oh my god! If we could find a Funko maker who will make custom Funko Pops,
You can actually like make them yourself.
Googling it.
No, there's kits for that. There's kits to make.
I am not talented at all to pull
Like,
that
hear
off
me
in
out.
any good capacity.
just
I
do
want
it-
someone good, and I want
Hear
to
me
pay them
out.
for their work.
If we just do a PTR stream where we all have to make our own Funkos.
It'll just be me
Oh,
just
no.
going.
No, you're gonna make yourself. DM.
But that is awesome, Ben. Thank you so much for commissioning that, buddy. That they look fantastic, and we'll try to incorporate that into the stream as much as we can because those are brilliant. So thank you, Ben, and thank you to that amazing artist for all your awesome work. That is
Yes.
fantastic.
Please go check them out. They're amazing.
Look at the chat for that username.
Yes.
Second up, another awesome piece of art from the lovely Saf. What you got, Saf?
Yeah, my friend very lovingly made me a commission. And by commission, I'm making her French onion soup in exchange because she loves me. But yeah, Jordy, you can put it up whenever you want to. But it's of Strange and Ramira, and it's really cute. And I love it, and it makes me happy.
And there it is.
It's
Hey,
so adorable.
oh, look at
It's so
it.
precious. But the artist is We're Legends, babe, and I don't know that she does commissions, but you could always try. I don't know. Reach out to her. She's on Instagram and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the just seconds before they got blasted.
Oh God, we're gonna die.
Jade
I was
said
wondering where that green hue was.
Jade said initially that they could hear Fiend heavy breathing off screen somewhere when they first saw
I was
the
gonna
hard
say,
piece.
This
And if
this
you
looks like POV. You all missed a feed.
Literally, if you notice too, her necklace from Fiend is hanging down in between them as they smooch. And I just thought that was a poetic justice right there because the artist didn't know the significance of the necklace, but it's just good like that. So
Hey, Saf.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
yeah,
Ah,
it's hanging in between them.
that is
What
good.
up?
Come get your dog. He don't bite. Yes, he do. Yes, he do.
Oh man, that's exactly what happened. But yes, thank you so much for Legends, babe. You are the best. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for that awesome artwork. I really do appreciate it. And hey, if anyone out there wants to make art for BTR, I mean, go for it. We accept all and any art of our lovely characters and amazing role players here on the Dicecream Twitch channel. If you are gracious enough to send us art, make art, please do. We will highlight it. We have a art reel that is going at the start of the show during the break and all that. So please send us your art. We'll make sure people see it. We'll post it on the social channels and all that fun stuff. So there's your opening, people. But yeah, so I think that is everything. Yes. Okay. Well, it's been a couple weeks, everyone. So, oh boy, let us once again kick back, relax, grab your favorite drinks, your teas, your snacks, and get ready to dive into yet another session of Beyond the Realms. Okay. Last we left off, the party having a hard-fought, knuckle-dragging, all-out battle with the entity known as Sam, an arcane invention that had been used to help assist magical creations, magical laboratories, basically an arcane AI that had been created by the Academy of Arcana in Asgard, taken a life of its own, gave itself a body. You met this entity not that long ago and had a choice to make, either to let Asgard know about this entity or to let it go. Most of you were keen to partner with it, show it the ways of the world. One of you had a bit of a tie-in with the Academy of Arcana and couldn't let it go without letting them know. Battle ensued. Sam escaped just by the hair of the chinny chin chin, escaped into the Feywild, where you currently have found yourself today. And after fighting with Sam for what seemed like forever, 2 sessions worth of battles, eventually taking him down as his twisted metal body had merged itself with the Tree of Infinity, basically the oldest relic in all of the Feywild, the very lifeblood of the realm itself, with Sam seeking knowledge, seeking the answer to all life's questions, the Tree of Infinity being that most ancient source of those answers, merged with it and was creating this necrotic offspring, this infection that was spreading throughout the Feywild, affecting creatures of all types, animals, beings, with this techno-organic virus, this velvet black fog emitting from the Tree of Infinity and spreading out through the center of the Feywild, causing schisms against all of the various Fey courts. Eventually, finding your way to the tree by Sam's own will, the fight was hard. A lot of you went down, but you came out on top with Rhaenyra casting healing spell after healing spell after healing spell. Nobody perished. Everyone made it out alive. Even Mullet joined the fight, riding a majestic unicorn with a pair of diamonds that was promised to you from the Satyr Fezzik, but unfortunately also had gone down as well. By the hands of Sam, her life had been cut short. But after Sam's demise, you then recouped. You went over to Sam and did some pretty vicious things to good old metal boy Sam, with Farrell ripping the head off Sam's already beaten and run down body, taking off this fey metal crown that Sam had emanated off the top of his head, ripping it off, tossing it to the side, and basically fashioning Sam's head to your belt.
Well, Sir Strange ripped the head off while I beheaded him.
Wow. I was just going through my villain phase.
It was simultaneous. I waited till you took the crown and then I beheaded him.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So change it. So sorry. Sir Strange ripped the crown off the head of Sam. Then Farrell beheaded Sam. Right. My mistake.
Surgically removed. With a sword.
With
the edge of your shield, just.
And seemingly ripping off the crown off of the head of Sam and kind of tossing it over to Fiend, who instantly put it on his own head that cinched and fastened to Fiend's temples and seemingly couldn't get it off. A little bit disturbing, this sort of wooden crown with many thorns and spikes coming out of it, various leaves interwoven with various wood and metal-like textures. A little off-putting, but this sort of warm feeling kind of came from you from head to toe as you've put it on. Nothing bad happened to you. It was a fairly good feeling, but you've yet to kind of consider what the power within this item could be. Upon doing this, the rest of you seeing Mullet's body on the ground, one last heroic effort before rejoining her lovely wife Galen above, Farrell took the time to druidcraft a makeshift grave for Mullet, seemingly gathering a bunch of vines to kind of cover their body and respectfully laying them to rest. On this happening, the Tree of Infinity, who at this point was bare, broken, dead, dry, bare leaves and branches all around, suddenly was sprung back to life. The very massive, enormous trunk of the tree grew a few sizes larger, grew taller. Their branches erupted with a sea of leaves and flowers of all various types and sizes. The archaic demolition around the tree that had been scarred from the Sam fight. Suddenly grass was regrowing. All of the plants around came back to life in a sort of like a 30-foot radius centered around the Tree of Infinity. And as the tree grew taller and taller, the brush on the top grew bushy and wide, this effervescent sort of light phosphorescent blue streaming down above the treetops with faint wisps and veins of light green energy wrapping around the tree itself. A face began to emerge out of the bark, with the high treetop leaves and bushiness kind of emanating almost like hair follicles, with the branches seemingly growing downward into a face-shaped like visage with high cheekbones, a nose, a mouth, a brow, eyebrows, closed eyes. And it took a while for this face to kind of become fully formed. But after a few of you kind of looked at it, a word, a name, popped out of Fiend's mouth. Hathawin? And that is where we left off. So, with all that in mind, everybody, Frostbreakers, what would you like to do?
I thought we left him in Asgard.
Yes, I don't
I would like to
think this is
clarify.
Hathawin.
I did not do that intentionally. I'm just making a grave. Like that was not me.
Well, something happened.
Right, but I was not me. I just.
I don't know. I don't think that was you. I don't.
Why don't you just ask them?
Hathawin?
It's not Hathawin.
Not all trees are the same tree, Phoenix.
Yes, I understand that all trees are the same tree, but this one has my tree's face. So I repeat myself, tree. Hathawin?
As you repeat the name of the small, tiny dryad that you had found in the underground caves of Wagon's community all those many months ago, mirroring the same face of Hathawin, you shout out the name. The face still, eyes shut. Nothing seems to respond.
It's clearly not called Hathawin.
Oh, great tree of infinity.
Silence.
Oh,
How far is it?
anyone home?
How far is it from me?
How far is it from you? You're all relatively close by. Like you're all within like a
Cool.
20-foot distance from it.
Well, I'm gonna reach up and touch it.
Okay. Place your hand on the tree. The various sort of vein like green, bright green energy that's kind of shining brightly through. You put your hand on it.
Are the leaves on it alive? Or does it still look very barren?
So where you are, this tree is crazy.
Right,
Big.
it's huge. Right.
Like you're at the trunk of this. Probably the trunk size of it is like 15 feet, 20 feet across. And just that thickness of that trunk just goes tall, up. The leaves on it are swaying from a breeze, but they're not alive. They don't appear to be like curling individually. But that sort of thin green light that's sort of shining through the various pieces of bark above the phosphorescent blue light shining out of the treetop seems to be beating.
Goodness.
So strange.
With my limited knowledge, but maybe my Fae experience, can I determine what that is? Can I like roll? To see?
Roll a history check.
Okay, let's use Seth's dice right here. Okay, that. Wait. I forgot that I can add things. Give 1 second. I'm smart.
I can add things.
I can add things. Wow.
What kind of check did you say?
History.
Then in that case, that would be 18.
18.
Yeah.
So with your newly found history connected to the Feywild, as the party discovered you, in fact, being the long-lost prince of the autumn city of Mithrandane, son to the Oak Lord. Various visions and memories have been coming to you in various stages while your time in the Feywild lingers. From what you kind of remember about the Tree of Infinity, I mean, this is the oldest relic in all of the Feywild. Many people rumor and speculate that the Fey itself, when it first started, imagine the Big Bang happening, and the only thing in a sea of black was the Tree of Infinity. It is essentially the lifeblood of this realm. Everything and anything spreads and connects to this one tree.
So, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Jade.
I was just going to ask a clarification. So, would you argue that this is the I'm gonna say the word, the heart of the Feywild.
From the many names it's been known throughout legends and lore, that is one of them.
Okay. Clarification, John, because I don't know, because I don't want to what do you call that? Did you at any point reference what you were after at the Feywild, or did you keep it to yourself?
He's only kept it to himself, as far as I remember.
I did tell Ramira.
Okay.
Me.
Okay. Then in that case, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to. What do you call that? Yeah.
So up until this point, did we assume that this tree was dead until the face appeared?
Not that it's dead, I mean, is one way of looking at it. When you saw Sam attached to it, his body sort of connected to the base of the tree trunk, there were parts of the leaves and the brush still attached. That blue glowing sort of light, that green effervescence coming between the different shingles of the wood was a bit lower. There weren't as many leaves on it. It looked like as if it was aging. Then when you had that battle with Sam, his energy just burned the environment around him and all the leaves fell, looking like a tree after a bad forest fire kind of thing. But now it is seemingly brought back to life. Strange.
Well, everyone is doing their thing. I'm going to make my way towards it, directly towards it.
I was gonna say, Farrell also has a thing. Is there parts of this tree that still look dead or broken because of Sam?
Around the base of the tree, there are some ash, some blackened shard of wood and twig kind of splintered around the base of the trunk, with some of the deep roots are kind of gnarled and perking up and twisting into the ground.
Farrell's gonna pull the hand back that is currently touching, the bark and everything, and kind of reel back, kind of push her hands together, and then allow a greenish aura emanating leaves from her fingertips as she casts Greater Restoration.
Okay, on the broken twigs down below.
Yep, and I can read you what it does.
Okay.
You imbued a creature you touch with positive energy to undo a debilitating effect. You can reduce the target's exhaustion level by 1 or end one of the following effects of the target if it has any. One effect that charm or petrify the target, 1 curse, including the target's attunement to a cursed magic item, any reduction to the target's ability scores, 1 effect reducing the target's hit point maximum.
All right. So you go down and kind of touch the ground where the ash and the burnt twigs are.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that green light starts to wrap itself around your hands. Kneel down, touch the ground with that intention. The ash and the burnt twigs kind of fall into the mulch, into the dirt. And as you keep your connection to the ground steady, there's not a rumble, but a hum. A very soft, very pleasant sort of sound emanates from the ground underneath you. Various plant life starts to bloom all around you. Little saplings grow, little tiny twigs of wood start to reach up, and leaves bloom out from various branches all around. You're like giving more life and breath into the vegetation, into the flora and fauna around the Tree of Infinity. And those little slivers of green light that you can kind of see poking out between the bark widens a little bit. That light kind of shines through a bit brighter. And that sort of heartbeat, that sound that you kind of hear being right next to it, it changes from as you see the light kind of dim and grow.
What are you feeling there, Farrell?
A heartbeat?
Well, I know trees are alive, but I didn't know trees were alive.
This is the Feywild.
That is true.
I think it's breathing?
It could be some sort of tree being. Perhaps it's not fully a tree. I've heard of these things. Can't quite place the name.
I just like
Like the two things that I fried back there.
Yes. But
Ents?
bigger.
Right.
What?
Ents. Yeah. Like a tree
No, ants are
ant.
the little things that get in your food.
No, this is the big bushes that move. Ent. E-N-T.
Right.
Right.
Does Tarek know how to spell?
Yes. Fuck off.
Strange. You're from the Feywild. What is this thing?
He's not stupid.
I'm still making my way over. I'm gonna touch it. I want to touch it. I want to touch it.
All right. So you go up and put your hand on the tree. You can almost feel the bark expanding like a lung as you put your hand on the bark. Various little saplings of tiny little vines start to wrap itself around your hand and almost snake down past your wrist, down your forearm. Not holding you there, almost just caressing you, holding your hand in place.
I love the movie Venom.
I'm thinking of the movie The Ruins.
By me just like touching the tree, is there anything I can gauge from it other than knowing that it is the heart of the Feywild? Is there anything I can sense from that? I have not said it was the heart of the Feywild because no one told me anything.
Anything you sense, like what specifically are you looking for?
Because from what I've gauged, from what I've heard, it has a face of a person. It's breathing as if it is alive. Would you say that this tree is sentient?
Make an intelligence check.
Let's see. Intelligence. What would that be under? Because I have
Just straight intelligence, just your intelligence mod plus the d20.
intelligence plus a D20. Okay. Here's Saf. Don't mess with me now.
Don't say. Why would you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
19 plus my 2. That's a 21.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
I live here.
The power of friendship.
As those little saplings kind of wrap around your hand and caress your wrist, you kind of pull your hand off and they just kind of stay there. And you notice roses start to grow and bloom off of her silver paladin armor. What did you want to ask it? You have the feeling this thing is sentient in some way. People are asking names, trying to address it, nothing's happening. You feel this connection as soon as you touch the tree, it's responding to you in some way. Roses blooming off of your hard, cold iron paladin armor, giving you some sort of significant feeling of a welcoming warmth.
Okay, this is Strange we're talking about. So Strange would ask, how are you feeling?
Just keeps breathing.
Can I ask if it remembers me?
Do you say that?
Yeah.
You hear a beat in response.
Huh. Okay. I'm gonna think of some questions so you can pass out. I'm having a moment, so I gotta figure this out.
Saf.
Would Ramira be able to put 2 and 2 together that this is most likely the freaking Infinity Tree / Heart of the Fae? Like, she's no dummy.
I mean, it's looking like that, yeah.
She just kind of just very calmly stands next to Fiend and doesn't look at him. So this is it, huh?
I'm thinking.
Do you remember? Do you remember what I said when I said I trusted you?
As long as nobody innocent get hit.
And it wasn't world-ending, or, planar crashing. We've already put out the stars.
I figured we already started then.
It's really never going to be enough for you, is it?
Maybe not. Who knows, really? I suppose the gods had to start somewhere, and gods made this realm.
Fiend, we're not gods.
Not yet. They weren't either.
Is that what you want in the end? For you to be a god?
I think the uppercase G's have forgotten what it's like to be mortal, and somebody needs to remind them.
And she kind of looks over to the tree and sees the moment that Strange and the tree are having. I don't know really much about this plane, but I do know that it matters a decent deal to Strange, and my I don't know what they are. The people who gave me life are also kind of fond, and the whole, crash the whole plane. I really wish you wouldn't, for now. They haven't done anything to deserve it.
Well, they did send... I don't know if they sent, but the Prince of Frost just tried to do the same thing to the material plane. They're from here.
And you stopped them.
How many times is there going to be a fiend to stop them? Or a Ramira, or a Strange, or a Farrell, or a Tarek? Or any of the other heroes?
So your answer to that is to become them and destroy what they have in response?
Maybe. Or maybe rebuild it.
But I don't... Fiend... I hate you guys.
I'm trying.
Look, we're not doing anything.
You are not. Someone else is fondling a tree.
Communicating. Fuck.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
Yeah, something we lack. Communication. How you doing?
Fiend, I don't have the words to say, or even the ability to convince you otherwise. I have some big feelings right now, and I'll be honest, I'm exhausted. Maybe tearing the heart out of an entire plane is not the best idea right now.
Ramira, you know what's funny to me?
Everything?
No. We went through a life-ending fight with Sam. I feel as though I gained some prevalence of a relationship with Strange after nearly taking their life. I feel like I got a moment with Tarek that had been coming for a while. And I hadn't even figured out that this was the heart of the Feywild before you assumed I was going to take it. We haven't had our rest yet. Maybe we should communicate again in 8 hours. Level heads and all.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. What I'm trying to say is I might be different than the fiend that you knew yesterday.
And she puts her hand on your cheek. I never want us to become enemies. Not because I'm afraid of you, but because I never want to have to see you that way. And sometimes I jump the gun.
It's okay.
It's not. But I'll work on it.
Much appreciated. I'm going to lay my head somewhere where it doesn't feel like bees are crawling up my skin.
Okay.
And Fiend goes and pitches kind of some sort of like his tent and bedroll and stuff.
Yeah, as you go and set up what seemingly is becoming camp for the night, it seems, that sort of radius around the Tree of Infinity, the scar that has now been healed after Sam has been evicted from the Tree of Infinity, you notice that it's not healed the entire land around you. Probably in a good 40, 50-foot radius, you can kind of see trees brightened with color, grass reformed, plants blooming, but there seems to be a definitive end to that growth. And that sort of wispy black velvet fog is not nearby, but off the distance you can kind of see an ending to the light around you. What's everyone else doing?
Sorry, did you have a thing, Jade? Go on.
No, you do your thing. I'm still
Tarek,
talking
you're
to
up.
the tree.
Yeah. Tarek will kind of just make his way over to where Strange is and just kind of hearing what they're saying about it and seeing that it's kind of breathing. Just kind of look and it's not communicating. Perhaps it's recovering. Some sort of coma, maybe. It's beyond me. It's a tree, but it seems to be alive. Well, the trees usually are. Perhaps it's some sort of comatose state. If we leave it for a while, perhaps maybe by the morning. Well, who knows how long. Perhaps it's like us. Needs rest.
Strange will take a look at Tarek and nod for a moment and want to test the theory, places their hand back on the tree. Based off the heartbeat once, Strange is going to ask a direct question. No room for vagueness, just a simple yes or no. Are you hurt? This is going to be weird. 1 beat for yes, 2 beats for no. Is there anything we can do for you? Okay. I'm gonna pat the tree. And I'm gonna look back at Tarek.
What did it say? Speak tree? Or is it more of a fae thing?
The tree is hurt. I don't normally speak for the trees, but in this instance, I suppose I have a connection with it, if somewhat slightly. maybe it just needs rest. I mean,
Yeah.
we've dealt with Sam, so it shouldn't be in any danger anymore.
And, well, if anything does arrive, well, we'll all be here to protect each other and protect the tree if we have to.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I have a feeling that this tree, at least in my time as I hear, is everything. To me, it is the Feywild. And I don't know. It's weird. Anyways,
Feel a connection with it, like it's important to this realm's existence.
well, admittedly, the Feywild isn't my home. Doesn't feel like it is, but it's nostalgic. Anyways, are you doing all right?
Can I make an insight check with that very quick? Enough about me.
Like what specifically?
Just seeing them very, very quickly kind of trying to change the subject over to asking me how I'm doing, seeing if they're trying to avoid their own feelings.
Trying to avoid their own question.
that's
Okay.
fine.
Do you want to
Yeah.
contest, Sir Strange? Or?
Sure.
All right. So roll insight
Okay.
against. Oh, what is it?
Deception.
Deception. Correct. There we go.
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
been a
do we roll-
while.
Do we roll at the same time, or do we roll like?
I've already rolled. I rolled a 14 plus 5.
Sweet Jade has like a +10 to their deception or something.
Let me
stupid.
roll it again. I do not.
I was about to say.
So again, I'm not joking. I did get a 20
Oh my
Plus-
god.
plus my 9, so 29.
Oh,
It was a 10, it was a
Jesus.
9.
Deception is my strong card.
Charisma stat. Hard to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems more enveloped with this connection with the Tree of Infinity at the moment than
Yeah.
it's not exactly a question of like, well, how are you doing? Like wanting to
Yeah.
not talk about himself, but more of just like, Jesus, what's going on here? Well, how are
Yeah.
you doing? If anything, he just want to take his mind off the fact that this tree is talking to him for a minute.
Yeah. I'm all right. This has all been a lot. We fought a giant snake in the sky, and then we ran away from giants, and then Sam, and just it's been a lot. But I'll be all right. Just definitely could use a rest. I think we all could.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I mean, it's not every day that you get struck with disintegration and attacked. Well, it was all in good fun. I'm not actually upset about it anymore, to be fair.
Wasn't very fun to witness.
No, but I mean, it happened, and I'm not really upset. I don't really hold on to things for too long. At least negative feelings. I simply don't have the time.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Just want to let you know, Tarek, that what I said on that boat, when I said I had faith in you, that hasn't changed. So, just keep being you.
Thank you, Strange.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm trying not to doubt myself as much as I used to.
Well,
More faith in myself.
yeah. And that's okay. And Strange is gonna sit down, just like because they've been standing.
You sure you're all right?
I'll be
Still
fine.
touching the tree.
I'm just like, I'm leaning against the tree at this point. I'll be fine. It's just, it was a pretty big fight, and it's just It's a no bones sort of day.
Yeah. No bone.
It's a woke thing.
I see. No bones. That's. Anyway. Well, you take all the time you need to rest. And I think we're going to be here a little while.
Muhaha.
Yeah. Stay safe, Tarek. Bunk.
You too. Against the tree. Oh, okay. Well, kind of just just make my way back to kind of the rest of the group and just very heavily just sit down. Okay. Kind of just been holding it together for a little while and then just going, okay, it's good to sit down. Ow.
Yeah, it's been a while. You guys pretty much started this encounter with Sam bright and early, and it's probably been like an hour and a half or so since then. So it's still fairly early, but you guys are just so beaten, so tired, battered that you're just all needing a goddamn good nap.
Take a nap right here.
Saf.
When everybody starts to settle down and everything and everyone's kind of chilling out, Ramirez gonna go over to what was Mullet.
I was gonna say Farrell's still near there, having
Okay.
mostly finished, got distracted by a tree with a face.
Yeah.
Kind of
Tarek
sat
probably would have pitched himself down near that.
Yeah, kind of sat down in the vines and everything else that are surrounding this tree and now this gravestone, and is putting the finishing touches on it. Just kind of having a couple flowers bloom here and there, working on specific sections.
Yeah. She
Kind
doesn't
of
say
just
anything.
zoned out.
Yeah. She doesn't say anything. She just kind of lights incense and kind of gives rites basically and says a quiet thank you in her heart and lets it go.
You guys see Fiend bolt out of like big man walk out of the back of his tent to where Vezek was.
Oh.
And you can just see like Fiend kind of fade out into the distance. Kevin, do I know where Vezek is?
He's around.
He's around. He's not in your current vicinity.
Right. I'm just gonna
in the hustle and bustle of everything. Came down with Mullet with that unicorn. Mullet jumped off the unicorn with the bag of diamonds, and Fezzik had essentially kept on to the unicorn as it like ran off into the woods.
Gotcha. You just see her Fiend go, Vezek! Vezek!
Oh.
Why are you yelling?
He's in the distance. He's kind of like in the tree line.
In there a little bit. They can all hear you though shouting.
Oh yeah. I just can't hear. Fiend, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Tarek's just gonna send an arcane eye after him just to see what he's doing. He sat down. He's like, no.
Can I like roll
The
to try to see
visible
if I
eye
can
will
find
just follow
Vezek?
you.
Yeah. Roll a perception check.
Oh my god. Perception even. That's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. Where's my
I think
stats up here
during
today?
this time, Farrell's watched Fiend bolt, and having finished.
Oh, I don't know why I checked.
We
I
made
have a
eye
0 perception.
contact.
That's a
Yeah, we're
16.
like-
Prolonged eye contact.
16. So you're kind of surrounded by a sort of a circular tree line with a bed of grass and various plants and fauna. You start to enter off the grassy area into the encircling tree line where the trees start and are planted very close to each other. You sort of make your way between the trees, kind of looking around. You do look down and you see some tracks, hoofs, two sets of horse tracks and a set of hoof tracks kind of going off into a certain direction.
We have the diamonds, right?
Yep, you have the diamonds.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Fiend doesn't know that.
Fiend doesn't know
yeah. Nobody told him there were diamonds. So I just book it after the little hoof, the little hoof prints.
All right, make a survival
Tarek,
check.
Arcane eye will be following directly above his head, so Tarek can see everything the Fiend is seeing.
15.
15. So again, it's fairly
Survival.
light out. It's still not even like really midday yet. But as you get deeper and deeper into the forest, that boundary of that velvet fog starts to look very clear and obvious to you. The light as you get into the forest dims more and more, and you start to get to a point where the fog is clearly just blocking sight. But as you see the tracks leading from you, it goes into that fogness, into that black.
Later. Fiend fades into shadows and reappears at the tree line. Walks back to his tent.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, we lost
Tarek
her.
disappears into the fog.
Arcane Eye went.
Oh shit, Tarek's gone.
Why does the Isle of Man do internet checks right now?
I don't know.
Hopefully his internet didn't black out there.
Farrell's, as she's sitting there, finishing up the finishing touches on this grave, eventually will kind of sit back, survey the work, and be okay with it. Take the wedding ring that she removed from Mullet and undo the necklace that she wears with her sister's pendant and her own, and slip the wedding ring on, and then reclasp it. So now there is a moon, a star, and Mullet's wedding ring around Farrell's neck.
And as you sort of clasp that on, kneeling down next to the gravesite, the various vines wrapping around the body and have kind of encased it in this very naturalistic tome of sorts. As soon as you make that gesture, various flowers bloom out of the various vines wrapped in that unturned earth.
She specifically did sunflowers.
There you go.
They remind her
Sunflowers.
mostly of Mullet.
Very bright coloration of various yellows and oranges. Okay.
Then she'll kind of sit back and rest. She's done.
Anyone else?
I'm going to bed. Long rested.
All right. Sir Strange.
Hand on the tree again. I'm done. Do you know my mother? Is she dead? And my father, the Oak Lord, is he dead? The face that you have, do you know who it belongs to? Are you that person? I just like hearing you breathe, Kevin. It's fine. It's cool.
This is the ASMR version of Beyond the Realms.
The rest of us are waiting on bated breath.
Literally.
Is he dead?
y'all didn't want to see what happened with round 2 Hathawin death.
Oh, I was about to get so upset. I was like, oh my god.
First Wagons community, then the whole Fae.
Ooh.
It's all going down.
Because if so, that means our house is gone and there's a lot more things.
Connecting the dots, Hathawin and what they remember, they're going to ask a question. Are there Asgardians in the Feywild? Good to know. I know you've been through a lot, so I'm going to let you get some rest, unless you have anything else for me. But seems like we both had a difficult day, you more than anything else. Well, you know where to find me. And I'll pat the tree. And I'm going to make my way towards the grave. So if anyone else wants to say anything while I do that, that's also...
I did completely forget, Kev. Jade just totally reminded me. I checked the ring again to see if Loki, after killing Sam, has some level of response.
Okay, make an Arcana check.
I'm gonna check. Is not good. Let's see. Oh, my Arcana is 6, so 11.
You check the skeleton key insignia ring representing your past crime syndicate that you had come to realize Loki, the god of mischief himself, had started all those hundreds of years ago. You look at the ring, looking at the green gemstone eyes, the diamond teeth, the heavy dark metal, scratched and clawed through years of worn. You don't feel any energy pulsing through it. You don't feel any messages imbued in it. It feels dormant, empty.
Damn it. I felt like freeing this fool would bring me pressure. To bed, I say then.
Okay. And everyone resting for the night?
I'm going to take first watch because I don't want to not have somebody paying attention.
I will take second. I was also going to do that. So second to Ramira. When I see Ramira kind of get up to go watch, I'll wake me up second. I'll get that.
Okay.
I'll take third.
And she grasps Farrell's like arm or like shoulder. I'm really, really glad we all survived.
Me too. I'm really
It's
glad
rest.
you're okay.
Oh, well, yeah.
Okay is relative, but for us,
We're alive.
and that means we're okay.
Yes. I'm gonna post up.
Be
And
safe.
she does. Oh, you know me.
Okay. So it being still fairly bright in this sort of radius of light that you have around the Tree of Infinity through all the effervescent, phosphorescent, glowing colorations of flora and fauna around you. Roll perception check.
It's a 9.
I don't know what you just said off screen, but I don't want to know because it's funnier.
It's okay. It's okay. I got a 9. It was so close to being a good roll and it wasn't.
Okay.
It's fine.
So, looking around you, again, fairly good light all around, daytime. A little bit of a warm breeze comes through the area. Some of the flowers in the tree kind of sway a little bit. But nothing comes to your attention.
Okay. Under her breath while she's taking watch, she is not praying because she doesn't actually want her parents to hear her, but she is kind of just thinking to herself. And she's got her knees pulled up to her chest and she's got her head rested on her knees. I did it. I did what you asked me to. I hope you guys are happy up there, wherever you are. But I did it. So. And she kind of just sits there quietly.
And as you say that, arms over your knees, you look down to your mace. Darkened steel, a bit scratched, the various crescent moons attached on all four sides of the bulbous head of the mace. And as the sunlight kind of shines down through it, and this gleam kind of hits it the right way, a shimmer of reflection, you see the mask of Cirrus doing this.
Oh, that's cute. She
Just for a
puts it back on. She wears it on the back of her head and just kind of sits there. I'm the best daughter you've ever had. And she kind of stands up and goes, all right, guess it's Pharaoh's turn. And she'll go wake up Pharaoh.
Okay. Coming up to Farrell, waking up.
Yeah, I'm awake.
Okay.
Anything interesting?
Not that I could tell.
Okay. Get some rest.
And she will.
Okay. Farrell, roll me some perception checks.
Perception.
Perception checks.
That is 14 plus 8.
14. Again, still fairly bright out. A little bit of warm breeze still kind of in the air. Nice smells are kind of coming and wafting over to you from all the flowers blooming, freshly bloomed around you. Bit of a weird scent of like warm brownies and cakes also kind of subtly in the air. Very strange. You also see various tiger lilies and bells, these plants, these long sprouting yellow plants that have bells that sprout out one after the other, kind of sway in the wind. A little bit of glitter comes out of the nectar held within and kind of sway and fall down to the side. Looking around again, no creatures come to you. Don't hear any sounds of any rustling or anything like that. But looking through the forest, past the tree line, probably good 40, 50 feet in, you can just barely spot little swaths of light. Just barely.
What
Sort of
colors?
floating. A bit of a darkened yellow.
Are they floating like they seem high up, or are they
It's pretty
down?
far away to tell. It's super faint.
Okay, so extremely faint. I'm going to take a mental note of that. Maybe walk to the edge of the tree line, kind of squint a little, see if I can see anything. If I can't, I'll wait.
Yeah, so you get to tree line, kind of inspect a little bit further, past that line where the fog starts to get dense, that black velvet essence. Kind of look through and it seems muffled behind the fog, dampened a little bit. You go to the tree line and kind of look around, a couple sets float behind the fog and disappear.
Can I roll Arcana to see if Farrell might know what these are?
You wouldn't have to roll Arcana necessarily or nature. You have a good, being a druid, you have a good very good sense of what type of entities could be in that fireflight formation, will-o-wisps, that kind of thing.
That's
very
exactly
much
what crossed her mind.
exactly.
I feel like her mom probably would have told her stories of don't follow the will-o-wisps. And so I was like, Farrell probably knows what these are.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, she's going to take note of that specifically and then go back to the tree.
Okay.
She doesn't know quite where these ones might lead her.
All right. Waking up Sir Strange next, I believe.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, she'll kind of gently shake them awake. Sir Strange.
Yeah, right. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Kind of like looking over down at them. Your watch.
Got it.
Don't follow the will-o-wisps.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
Will-o-wisps.
Don't
Got
do
it.
that. Don't follow them.
Don't follow them.
Don't do that.
Okay, I won't.
I feel like you're not quite understanding me.
I just woke up, but I think it'll hit me in a bit.
Are you going to? Is it going to hit you like mid following them? Like,
It's gonna hit me like a 5th level disintegrate, but it's fine.
Okay. I'm glad you know what that feels
Sixth level
like.
disintegrate.
I don't know magic. Yeah, right. Yeah, I got it. Also, I don't know if it means anything to you, but that tree,
Right.
I think Hathawin's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to it, but that's another conversation for another time. But you don't need to worry about it.
Farrell just kind of goes, Druid.
Okay, like it's hitting me now. We'll have another conversation.
Right.
You go get your rest.
So, if Hathawin is okay, that means everyone else is okay.
I'm gonna say that I know that Hathawin's okay from talking to the tree. I don't want to give you any false hopes because gods know we've had a lot of that.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I can't deal with 2 more bards in Avernus.
And yeah, that would suck, but just know this. I've got you.
I've got you.
Yeah, I know. With a little shiv. I got you get it. I'm trying to make light of the situation.
You know what? It would have to be something a lot stronger. I feel like I need to pierce the armor, or I'll just get you in your sleep. And with that, she goes and sits down.
Oh, I love my friends. And I'm gonna go glance at the tree, but I'm gonna focus on keeping watch. But
Okay.
before I do that, I'm gonna glance at Ramira and nod. And just turn slightly and to face. Is Fiend around? Is
They're
Fiend
all
asleep?
sleeping around you. He's in his own sort of bedroll tent set up.
I'm joking. I keep watch.
Do it, Buffy.
It's like the elf from that Travis played in that Christmas one shot.
What do you think we should do, Oswick? Kill him.
God damn it. Fiend and Sir Strange round 2. But you look down at Ramira. Subtle nod and acknowledgement. Look over to Fiend's tent. A couple conflicting feelings still may have been lingering from your last conflict, but a more pressing matter is ahead of you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep watch.
All right. Roll a perception check.
Don't fuck me now. This is 14.
14.
Yeah.
So, looking around, still midday. Again, you're smelling those same sort of scents that Pharaoh was smelling earlier, the freshly bloomed flowers, the subtle essence of like baked goods, brownies, that kind of thing, wafting in the air. Looking around you, you don't see anything out of the ordinary except for a little small patch of mushrooms have bloomed near the roots of the Tree of Infinity at the base. Just a couple, like 2 or 3 clusters, one there, one here, one the other. Classic sort of red coloration with various darkened white spots on the top of them.
Okay, that it just popped up.
Yeah, it's kind of like you fell asleep. They weren't really there before. You noticed a few of those popped up, a couple more interesting flower arrangements. The land around the Tree of Infinity kind of continuously healing itself.
Can I make a check from being from the Feywild to see what kind of mushrooms those might be? Or determine if it's dangerous?
Make a nature check.
Yeah, like, I don't know, imagine little Oswick wandering around putting mushrooms in his mouth as a kid. I don't know. Nature check, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably... 21.
21. So with you kind of getting memories back, getting feelings, instincts, the longer you are here. Poisonous around this ancient of a relic, this heartbeat of the Feywild. Poisonous things don't really make sense. But eating things that the tree has just freshly grown in its healing state might not be the best thing.
Okay. I'm gonna, and you can, this might be a freebie here, but I just want to, just from personal experience, okay, I'm not gonna say that. Are these a Feywild equivalent of psychedelics?
With that nature check, I mean, it's possible. There are various known strains and plant types of Feywild mushrooms that have been known to give off that particular effect. People cultivate them sometimes from the Feywild and go to the material plane to sell them at various markets, things of that nature. Whether these ones are psychedelics or not, there's only one way to know.
I mean, Pharaoh did say not to follow the light, and these aren't lights. No. No. I'm gonna go walk towards the tree. Now that I've made a kept check.
I know exactly what you're about to do.
Listen! Hey, Feywild tree. Are those psychedelics? It sounds like a sigh.
It was.
This poor thing is trying to not die.
Listen, live your best life, live your truth.
It's in ICU, and you're like, "Hey, can I eat these?" Or
Hey, yo, I
is
found
that-
some stuff in your bag.
It's an ICU, but I don't want to eat the patient's food.
I know you're not dead
No,
yet.
it's
but
the gum
not-
underneath the desk.
Oh,
You
no.
hear,
It's actually the waste.
you wait to hear a response from a subtle sigh that can be heard emanating through the tree bark. But a moment passes and you hear,
Fuck. Thanks for entertaining me. Sorry about that. My nerves are shot. Hey, this might be a hard sell. But do you think... And again, you might not know, but I figured you being sort of connected to everything and me not having that connection anymore... Do you think my mother misses me? And this might be bit too much. And again, thank you for entertaining this. Does the Oak Lord miss me? Thank you. I'm gonna pat the tree. And I'm assuming Fiend is next, right?
I believe so.
Okay. I'm gonna go up to Fiend's tent and I'm gonna gently tap it.
What? Something about... yes. What can I do for you?
It's your watch.
Right, of course. He opens his tent and straightens his tie.
You doing all right?
Just fine.
Okay.
I would like to talk to that tree, though.
You should.
I wouldn't even know what to say.
I mean, simply ask yes or no questions. I don't know if it'll talk to you the same way it does with me, but I trust you.
What is it? 1 beat for yes, 2 beats for no?
Damn, how did you know? Yes.
Holy shit.
Also, just so you know, Farrell told me something, don't follow the lights. I did not follow the lights. Also, there's mushrooms over there, probably psychedelics. Don't ask how I know. I spoke to the tree. The tree and I are on very good terms. You know, it's a Fae thing.
Right. So no mushrooms.
I mean, I'm not going to judge. You live your truth, right? I just wanted to warn you that those there, probably not poisonous, hardcore psychedelics. You know, if you want to go on more than one trip to the Feywild, that's there.
Did you ever eat one of my pears?
No, but based on the last experience when we were on that boat and you having that sort of a trip, I kind of don't want to. And there's more than one of me now. I might be okay with it, but you know, you and Oswick aren't really on good terms either, and I don't want to risk that.
Fiend touches the scar that Oswick's blade left.
I touch my chest. Disintegrate. You know,
it's right, yes.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like a weird thing now. We're like brothers now, like the blood thing, but instead it was like.
Except we shared horrible black goop.
We're the Frostbreakers. I gather that we're weird like that.
I hope it's not cancerous.
We got psychedelics.
That's true. I can at least pretend it's not.
Yeah. Anyways, I just want to let you know that I don't blame you for what you did.
I do. But thank you.
Yeah, I'm just... Because I'm not going to say it. Well, I'm probably going to say it. I think in terms of who loved Ramiro the most, it would be uncontestable between the two of us. So you hurting me the way you did, I understand. Good shot.
Thank you. Got to make sure I don't miss.
But you didn't.
Something we should talk about. That creature that's inside of you. It can't stay there.
Strange doesn't say anything, but you can tell with something with the eyes. It's like, well, I'm gonna go hit up the homie tree. Just kidding. I'm gonna sleep. Maybe. I don't know. Is Oswick upset? I don't want to. It's been a while.
Oswick seems strangely quiet.
Oh, can I make a check on that? Oswick has not said anything since. Little buddy. Hello.
Make a charisma saving throw.
Fuck!
Why?
It just jumps my.
Why?
Beryl and Ramia are sound asleep, woken the sound of shrieking.
It's a 7!
Here we go again.
As you two are.
This is what you get for testing fate. Why would you do that?
Poke it.
I wanted to check if my homie was good.
You could have done shrooms instead.
John, if anything bad happens, just take the shrooms and force feed it on. So
It's a good thing I didn't use a level 1 spell slot yesterday.
Okay. So I rolled this. Wait, no, 7. It wouldn't make a difference. My saving throw is 7 plus my 3, it's 10. But it wouldn't make a difference.
You feel this force
God damn it.
start to bring your hands up. And put your hand on Fiend's shoulders. And you're not in control. Oswick is. Pulls in Fiend close. Round 2.
Fiend just.
Eyes go black in Sir Strange's face. You, Fiend, feel a sting
Fiend.
from when Sir Strange was in full Oswick mode, head to toe, this black gooing symbiote entity covering his paladin-like armor. From when he struck you with his enveloped, oozing black sword, it starts to burn and sting underneath your armor.
I was afraid of this. Fiend grabs one of Oswick's, at this point's arm. Just, this isn't the time. Do you yield?
You feel a voice. Oh, yield?
No, yield is in question. Yield.
You hear a voice, a giggle, emanate your mind, Fiend. Not now. Later.
Later.
You've never heard this voice before.
Who are you? What is this? I don't understand. Are you Oswick?
I'm a friend.
I have enough friends.
You are saying this out loud with a possessed strange in front of you. Yield now. There will be time later.
You yield.
Oswick's hands take them off your shoulder. The black veins emanating under his armor become flush with their own skin. Sir Strange's eyes, the irises come back to normal as they look at you. The trance lifted.
Do I remember that?
The voice was inside Mr. Fiend's head.
Oh no, like the whole thing where I just grabbed.
Yeah, so
Oswick.
when Oswick takes over, it's like you're inside of a car looking at a window. So you're able to see what's going on, you just can't do anything about it.
Okay. Strange. Sorry about that.
Strange. There's something interesting happening here.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Strange?
Yeah.
Imagine if I can't control it.
Well, that's not going to be good for the both of us because I can't control it either.
Right. Disintegrate is the last thing anyone has to worry about if this thing gains control of my mind.
I would say the same for me, considering my knowledge in the Feywild and my ties to this place.
You and I are the Alpha and the Omega.
Ooh, sure. I don't know about that. You're a bit stronger than me. I'll give you that.
But you can infect people.
Yeah. Let's
keep this between the two of us.
I think that's for the best.
Isn't it, though? We'll find an answer to this. And if we can't, we will tell the others.
Strange's gonna look at her mirror. I just don't want to hurt her.
I think I don't want to hurt any of you. But I don't think Oswick or this thing cares.
This thing... Yeah, look. If anything happens, we won't talk about it. But if we lose control... If I see you lose control, we'll subtract me and you out of the equation so we don't do damage to anyone else.
Good.
Same goes for you.
I can't kill you, but I will take you out of the equation.
I can't kill you, not because I can't, because I care about you too much.
Right, what you said.
Yeah. Anyways. Good talk.
Good night.
Good night.
Yes. I'm gonna go talk to this tree now.
Yeah, talk to the tree. Remember, 1 beat, yes, 2 beats, no. Lies down. I'm gonna roll up.
This is worrisome.
And Fiend, as Sir Strange, as they lay down to rest, that high-pitched voice sounded youthful, new. That sting starts to abate as Sir Strange goes to sleep. You unclip your breastplate armor, put it down. A nasty scar around that big, crossed from where Sir Strange had connected, lays raw, a black scar across your chest, scab-like, and in the middle of it, dark red veins interloping and subtly moving inside the scab. Whatever this is, whatever connected with you in that battle with Sir Strange, when Oswick had fully taken over, might have passed on to you. If it did, this is a new sensation. It's not something you're familiar with. You're used to working with magic, working with in tandem with powerful sources. But nothing quite like this.
Are you still listening, thing inside my head?
No response.
I'm going to kill you. That's what I thought. You are like me. Cheeky little bastard.
Bye.
That's going to be a problem. Tree. fiend puts his hand on the tree. Can you hear me, tree?
No response.
I rescued a dryad. A dryad. Yes. A dryad named Hathawin. She was creating magical pairs. I brought her to Asgard. She's like a daughter to me. She has your face. I would appreciate a response. I know I'm not Fae or of the Fae, but I wear the crown. And I put my forehead to the tree.
The crown loosens over your head, connecting to the bark of the tree.
I duck my head out of the crown. You know what this is? This is a part of you. That's good. It's powerful. Why won't you speak to me?
This gust of wind starts to pick up, and it's slow at first, but becomes forceful. Your clothes start to billow in the wind of it, forcing you, pushing you off of the bark itself. Roll a strength saving throw.
Oh, I rolled a 17, and I'm sure it's a -1. It is a -1, so 16.
The rest of you in your tents, this sort of gust of wind flapping against your tents. Not so much that you're rolling over or things are falling over, but it's fairly forcible to fiends specifically. But you're able to plant yourself, not moving.
What are you doing?
The wind dissipates, slows.
I've passed your test? Yes?
You feel it breathing where you couldn't before.
The strangers told me it's 1 beat for yes, 2 beats for no. They and I are connected. Now, unfortunately, in more ways than one. I've been sent here to kill you. I don't really want to. I need to know, is Hathawin your child? I've taken very good care of them. I think. They're like blood for me. I didn't let them die. If I kill you, will Hathawin take your place? Good. I didn't want any reason. What should I do? Hey, Tree. We killed Sam. They shouldn't be bothering you anymore with the machinations and madness. But I don't know if you know this, but Loki is here. I have to tell you, I think you will die. Because Loki and I made a words bond. And I asked him to steal the heart of the Feywild for me, or he would die. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I regret it. If I see them first, I'll stop them. Good talk.
A single stem begins to grow around your feet. Goes up past your leg, past the knee, past the waist, various leaves and green branches blooming out of it. Bright pink rose blooms in front of you.
Very pretty. Is this for me? Fiend picks it. Thank you. Is there any magical properties to this rose?
Nope, just a gesture.
Fiend keeps the rose and pats the tree. As he's walking down the line of his sleeping friends, he goes, "Bitch," and slips the crown on top of Sir Strange.
Were you calling the Tree of Infinity, in fact, a bitch?
No, I was calling Sir Strange a bitch.
That is a very distinct...
Which is worse, Kevin?
You don't want to know.
I like how the tree understands curse words.
Yeah, the tree just bitch.
It's a common word.
The tree understands
vocabulary.
emotional intention.
Yeah.
Imagine if that was what finally killed him.
That is Fiend lovingly calling Sir Strange a bitch and giving them the most powerful item that they've seen yet, and hoping that it cinches around their head the same way.
Do you place it on top of their head, or you just throw it in the
Oh
tank?
yeah, no. He leans in and goes, "Bitch," and slips it around the top of Sir Strange's head.
A supernatural.
Yeah.
Oh my god, a supernatural quote if I've ever heard one. Now you must respond back with jerk.
Oh my
All
gosh,
right.
are we Dean and Sam?
Yeah. Damn it, Sammy.
As you go down and gently place the Feywild crown on top of Sir Strange's head, that rope-like visage of gnarled bark, various green leaves sprouted out of it with various pointed ends on top. Place it over a Fiend's hand, a little loose.
Oh fuck.
Attaches to their head various red roses start to bloom around the base of the crown.
Fiend standing there goes, "If it comes down to Oswig versus whatever this is, you're going to need advantage against my spells." And then just like walks past, and as Fiend passes Ramirez's tent, he leaves the Infinity Rose next to her.
Okay.
And then he just props up against his little footstool and pulls out a cigar and lights it and begins creating a little bonfire for everyone to wake up to.
All right. As you craft this bonfire, it's been several hours at this point, everyone getting all their long rests in. Sir Strange?
Wait, if it's on my head, I can't put on my helmet anymore.
No, you can't.
Oh, fuck. I can't mask anymore.
Sir Strange, as you are dreaming softly, Mr. Fiend comes and puts that crown in your head. Whatever dreams or visages you are currently having, a low, booming voice enters into them and simply says one word.
Oh no. Strange has been infected with Fiend.
Oh my god. The cycle continues.
Okay. Shit. All right. Well, I was dreaming really well. Now I'm not. Okay, cool.
But
Was
as
it like-
Fiend,
Was it like a dark evil voice, or was it like
it was Oswick saying, "Pow."
God damn it. Okay, cool.
But as Mr. Fiend starts to make this bonfire, several hours have passed. The light outside still fairly good. Probably by now it's getting to like 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon kind of thing. The sun's a bit lower. The light a bit more of an orange hue than it once was. But as you all start to wake up, one by one, feel the warmth of the fire gracing against your skin, and the small crackling of wood burning and kindle next to you. Begin to awake, one by one.
Good morning.
Good morning. How did everything go?
It went well. You all noticed that Fiend doesn't have the crown on his head.
Wait, how did you get that off? I thought it was stuck.
I had some help.
Playing musically across.
It's here. Ah!
He just used rage, trying to pull the. Ah!
Wait,
Strange.
you didn't. Laying across all the vines.
What is happening?
You give me a crown, ironically.
I thought you liked the crown.
I did like the crown, but I thought it would be better suited for somebody of the Fae. I can't hold it back. I think this
It's
is
like-
hysterical.
How are they going to put the helmet on?
It's like a muscle man scream in the background.
Maria has this rose, and she thinks it's from Strange because Strange is the only one who's ever given her rose ever.
And the worst part is, it's the most beautiful rose.
It is. It is the most beautiful rose.
Hey, Sap, as you're having to like, oh, Strange. Still, I'm on the ground.
She just is holding this rose and goes. It just pockets it so that the bud is still out, but she's holding on to it like.
Right.
Tarek.
Tarek will just look at the chaos going on all around him, just go, wouldn't be a morning with the Frostbreakers without pure chaos.
You know, when we're this close to death, I imagine we'd be more peaceful the next day, but no, we're more squirrely than before.
Wait, what's peaceful?
As something I was before all of this occurred.
If I'm being honest,
Oh.
I cursed Strange with the crown as though it would give them a better opportunity to
To be cursed?
No, to be missed by disintegrate, if you will.
Or if you just wouldn't disintegrate your party members, they wouldn't have to worry about that.
I was referring to Sam. Sam had disintegrated.
Sam's dead.
Sam's wicked dead.
Right, but other things. If I'm being
Strange. That's probably really dangerous. You probably shouldn't do that. That's
no.
strange.
Strange, don't be stubborn. Ask me how I got it off.
Bitch.
Okay, right.
We're gonna Twitch is gonna like cancel our stream after this.
Right. Okay.
They're fake weapons, Twitch. They're not real.
They're just props.
Yeah, it's absolutely fake. It's actually fake.
Oh, Twitch isn't that bad with swords.
Anyways, right. What now?
Rose is pretty, isn't it?
As Sir Strange is trying to cram that sword off into the Feywild crown, trying to cinch it off. Tarek, what do you want to say?
Oh, I was just gonna do something. Don't worry. If you got a thing, don't worry. I was just gonna do something separately.
You go first.
Okay. So just a clarification for you, Kevin. Have I had no response on all 3 of the sending spells I've sent so far?
Damn it! Sparrow was
Sorry, all 4. I've sent 4 now because I've sent 1 to Dakari, 1 to both of my parents, and then 1 to Salil. No response from any of them.
Pharaoh was gonna ask you about that too this morning.
Yeah. Okay. During the night, then.
You guys send another message?
Just send the same thing. Just the same thing to all 4 of them. Just slowly throughout the night, just kind of send 3, wait an hour, send the other 1, wait another hour. Come back.
We get out of here and suddenly they're all spammed with voicemails. Voicemails from Tarek.
Hey,
like, what is happening?
Sorry,
Like,
this is
I'm
Tarek
just kidding.
again.
Loves me.
But as Tarek, as you kind of take the time to gather those sending spells, Sir Strange, the sword cinching the Fey crown off, trying to wince it off. The rest of you like, what are we going to do now? You hear this small, tiny voice. You might want to watch out with that. It looks like that's going to be painful.
In my head, or it's just
Out loud. Everyone hears this.
Sword still embedded.
You got to be careful with that. You might be poking your head with such a thing.
Who's there?
I prepare
Looking
sacred
around.
flame.
Hammer's ready. Who's there? What?
Everyone
Sure.
make perception checks.
All right. Natural 20.
15.
Dirty 20. No,
12.
that's a lie. I lied to you. 16. JK.
22.
You look around. You don't see anything. There's no creature in front of you. There's no animal. Who had the highest?
Farrell
Ben
had 22. I had 20.
Oh, Ben.
But mine was a nat.
Sparrow.
That
I
makes a
had
difference.
22.
I don't know.
So the two of you looking around, you notice a few things that you didn't notice the night before. The various fauna around the tree has kind of bloomed more and grown more overnight. Patches of these small spotted mushrooms kind of growing at the base of the tree trunks. In one patch, there seems to be a group, then a large gap, and a group. You kind of look around and notice that, and then you look down at Sir Strange's feet. And Sir Strange, you hear another voice.
Oh no.
Put the sword down, friend. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Oh no.
As you look down at Sir Strange's feet, you see a small mushroom head with a stalk, with tiny little stubbed legs, tiny little stubbed arms, two white little dots for eyes, small little tiny mouth with 2 buck teeth, a little gray scar embedded in one of the eyes, little green cloak wisping off of the neckline with a little tiny little leather belt, a blue sort of shirt. They don't really have legs necessarily. It's just kind of like one thick little tiny stalk with stubby arms and stubby little feet. A little like walnut shell shoulder pad, and a bow and various arrows behind them.
I'm just gonna look at Farrell and immediately just go,
Don't even think about it.
look.
Don't.
Look. No, hear me out.
He's just a
Probably
little
about
guy.
like-
No,
This big.
no.
No, hear me out. Listen.
Oh, look, it's breakfast.
No.
No,
You guys would let me
Ah,
keep the other one.
Diva.
I would like to put a pause here. This is for all intents and purposes, a sentient being who shouldn't be
Yes.
owned or eaten.
I didn't say
Exactly.
I would eat or own him. I just want to keep him.
That's kind of
Tarek,
like owning.
We
Farrell.
let Fiend keep.
Oh,
No.
you're just gonna look at
They
Farrell like
wanted to
X
stay
out.
with us. They wanted to stay with us, and that's very different.
Okay,
We
If
can
you
ask
wanna
it if
stay.
it wants to come with us.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get
You
down.
guys, I'm right here.
Right, I'm gonna get down
What's-
to its level.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
My name is Zarbok.
I'm keeping him.
Starbuck. No.
Yes.
Hi.
No, you're not keeping him.
Are you quite done?
I'm gonna remove the sword. Just like I've given up at this point because it's either been too painful, or I realize everyone's looking at me weird. Okay. Sorry, I just woke up. Wait. Zarbok, right?
That's correct, Al.
Strange. What?
Right.
Are
I'm gonna
you-
get down to its level, and just like on my knees. Hi,
Hello there.
I'm Farrell. It's nice to meet you.
Hello, my name is Zarbok.
Right. Are you from around here, or did you just happen to walk this way?
That is one way of putting it.
Okay.
You have all been requested.
What?
Have
By who?
You were requested to seek an audience.
with
who?
which entity?
The Tree of Infinity. I'm here to help you along.
I'm sorry.
The what?
I
And
looked
with that,
I
everyone,
looked strange.
we're gonna take our break. Hey!
I immediately looked strange.
We're gonna take our break right there, everybody. We're taking a little 10 minutes to refill drink, stretch the legs, and we will come right back for the second half of this session. Don't go anywhere.
Oh my
Hello, everybody. We have returned. Thank you for letting us take a little quick break there to refill the drink, stretch out the legs, and grab some more snacks. But without further ado, we'll give you a little recap of the first half and continue our story. So, last we left off, the party, finding camp next to the Tree of Infinity, decided to take a very well-deserved long rest after the aftermath of the battle with Sam. One at a time, it was Sir Strange, Farrell, Ramira, and Fiend all took turns rolling perception. Some of you go into the tree asking a various series of questions and answer type scenarios, but one poignant event kind of occurred between Sir Strange and Fiend having a bit of a conversation that led to Fiend insulting Oswick, the dark gift, the dark symbiote living deep inside of Sir Strange that caused it to come out. Sir Strange rolling a low charisma saving throw, could not control his body, and almost another fight with Strange almost ensued until Mr. Fiend heard a slight high-pitched giggle inside of his own head, convincing him to stay his hand, and another opportunity may come. Looking under the armor of his breastplate, found a blackened scar from when Sir Strange and Fiend first fought before the Sam fight, where Sir Strange had struck him in full symbiote mode. Seeing that scar, Fiend went to the tree himself, asking questions about Hathawin, about various other topics, before going to rest, taking the crown of the Feywild off of his head and putting that on Sir Strange's. Doing a bit of a bonfire, you all awoke one at a time, with Sir Strange trying to pry this Feywild crown off of his head that is now cinched to them. One at a time, you all woke up and were trying to decide what to do next, and you heard this tiny little soft-spoken, high-pitched voice near you, looking around, high perception checks, noticing that the crop of freshly grown mushrooms, there seems to be a bit of a space missing. A fairly short, stout mushroom creature addressed you as Zarbak, with a sort of widened black mushroom cap with various white spots on the top, tiny little white eyes, a scar over one, tiny little mouth, 2 little buck teeth, tiny little green cloak with a blue sort of materialed shirt underneath, 2 short stubby arms, 2 short stubby legs, a bit of a leather rope and sash around, the little walnut armored shoulder pad with a bow made of twigs and wood, various cherry blossoms kind of growing off of it, super small ones, with a bit of a arrow patch behind him. And with that, you asked, what are you doing here? He said, my name is Zarbuk. I'm the emissary of the Tree of Infinity, and an audience is requested. So, with all that in mind, Frostbreakers, what would you like to do?
So, an audience with the Tree of Infinity kind of turns around and looks at the tree. It's like,
you look at the tree glowing with that phosphorescent blue light on top, various bright green veins in between the bark.
So, well, we're here. So...
No, you don't understand, my friend. You have to go inside the tree.
How do we do
on
that?
her knees, like in front of this little guy, just like, right.
How do we do that?
Well, there's a modicum of ways we can try to do this. But first, you'll have to pass a couple of little tests.
Okay.
Tests.
There's always a
Tests.
catch.
Is it gonna kill more stars?
There's always
No, it will not kill any more stars.
Terry's just gonna look up. How many are left?
None. There's
They're
none
all
left.
gone.
They're dead. They're very dead. God.
Oh, no.
And Pharaoh's pissed about it.
Well, I think that as a group, a test or 2 wouldn't be a problem. Breakfast.
Breakfast first.
Please, enjoy.
Would you like to join us, vegan?
Oh, no, I'm okay. I already ate this morning.
Fantastic.
Nutrients off the ground underneath.
Yes.
So you ate grass. Is that
Yeah.
Well, it
Grass
is a
and dirt.
mushroom. It is a mushroom. So,
yes.
it's just strange. As a heads up, literally. Apparently, the tree removes the crown.
I'm gonna go over to the tree.
By the way, I talked to the tree. Lovely person. It was very helpful.
I'll have my helmet with me. I'm gonna go up to the tree. I'm gonna put my hand on the tree. May I?
What are you trying to do? Sorry?
I'm gonna try and figure out, like, to try and attempt to take the crown off with the tree. I'm asking
Okay.
permission first before I do anything.
So asking the tree, may I, with the intention of the crown loosening.
Yeah.
Loosens on top of your head.
I'm gonna take the crown. I'm gonna put it on my helmet.
Ooh.
It does not fasten. It seems to become loose and go off to the side.
Well, it was worth a shot. I'm gonna take the crown and I'll hold it close to me until I figure out what I want to do with it. And I'm just gonna look at Fiend. Like it's gonna be like a normal one. It'll be like
Fiend just majesty.
All right, well, get ready. Get some eats in you, and we will begin our journey very soon.
All right, everybody who's ready for halfling cakes. They're pancakes.
Nice. Yes.
Uh,
I would do nicely.
I'm gonna look at Zarbok and thinking about how I could have eaten them yesterday. I'm thinking about halfling cakes. You know, I'm okay. Yeah.
It's all right, dear friend. You made the good choice.
And just taps your shin and just like waddles over to the bark.
Click, click, click.
Right.
Farrell
I did find some walnuts in the tree line, so we're going to make halfling nut cake.
Farrell's looking
See.
to Tarek like, I'm keeping him. I'm
No, absolutely not.
This whole time they're arguing.
You cannot.
You
no.
can't tell me no.
As you take some time to
literally
concoct,
am telling you no.
Fiend, as you take some time to whip up some halfling nut cakes on the fire, roll a performance check really quick.
Sure thing. That's a charisma thing. I'm good at those. That's a 14 less. Performance is 6. That is a dirty 20.
All right. So flinging with flicks of your wrist, various utensils and cooking. You've got one pot going here. You've got other things bubbling over there. You're able to kind of multitask and do like 4 things at once, kind of Harry Potter style. Other things mixing over here on their own.
Telekinesis.
You notice Zarbok kind of near the tree, whipping out their sort of branch twig bow with their tiny little arrows.
Are you hunting grass right now?
I am practicing.
You're doing
Look
a good
at where
job.
he's aiming.
You're doing a really good job.
Thank you.
It literally, like, if you see him shooting the bow, it goes.
Why did the most
Lean over to
powerful?
Farrell and go, can't keep him, but I'm sure he'll stick around.
Tarek.
It's fine. I'm talking to you
No, no, no.
quietly.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of me not listening to you.
Just
Nothing new then.
No, not
Well,
that.
lean over to Sir Strange. Why do the most powerful beings have the most useless aids?
Look, I think
You should be asking Ramira that.
everything. Look, Fiend, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not feeling so hot with every. This is a lot. Like this is what? Okay.
Well, you got the crown off. You got the crown off.
Yeah. Thanks. It's great. Wonderful. Hate you.
Wondrous.
Yeah.
Can I give the small mushroom a dagger?
Oh my god.
The dagger is probably bigger than, or it can it's almost like half the size of it, kind of
I
thing.
want to give it a dagger. I just first. I want to be like,
Alright.
hey, try this.
So you go down and just hand it a dagger.
Yeah,
like
like,
it's
here.
probably like this sort of big.
Yeah,
So a
that's fine.
dagger's like person wise, the dagger's like their knee to the top of the head.
It's like a lawn sword for them.
Tarek is just gonna
Uh,
walk away.
This
Here,
might
I'm
be a
not
bit
doing
too. This might be a bit too large for me.
I just wanted to see if you could swing it, or if it's fine. All right, here, I'll take it back.
Okay.
Oh, this is so fucking cute. Shit.
Give it a curse dagger.
Shit, I'm not doing that yet. Farrell doesn't know it's cursed. You have to remember that. Farrell doesn't know. And we'll hand back his little bow. Here. All right, you're really good with this.
Oh, thank you.
God, I love him. I love him so much. I want him.
Staff.
It is at this point while she's waiting. I know, literally same John. This little mushroom's killing me, softly with his words. But she has her little rose and she's looking at it, and she kind of makes eye contact with Strange and then gestures like, "Is this you?" You say no, and then she kind of looks over to Fiend. The eyebrows, and she just goes, "Where?" Like she mouths the word "where."
He takes a spoon out of the halfling batter and points at the tree.
She goes, "Did you steal this?"
It was a gift.
I'm just asking the
It
question.
liked me so much for raising its child, it gave me that. I bequeathed it to you.
And she just narrows her eyes. Thank you.
Bequeath.
And-
You're welcome.
And she just sighs.
All right.
That's it.
Okay. While this is happening, while we're waiting, I'm just gonna go back to the tree and touch a tree again. I'm not gonna ask you in particular. I'm just gonna lean against the tree.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all.
All right. You got Stream Infinity.
Mhm.
John or Mr. Fiend baking up some cakes for y'all.
Cakes are done. They're like little silver dollars with nuts in them.
Amazing.
Tarek?
As Fiend's kind of working on that and like finishing them off, Tarek will just be like, can I help? That's that awkwardly.
Can you help? Sorry, who?
Yeah, talking to Fiend.
Oh shit! Sorry.
I was like, wait, you're talking to me? No, you're talking to
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
just walks over to you when you're making and just be like, can I help?
Right, let's do this.
Like,
Keep stirring. You can't stop stirring. If you stop stirring, it's going to set. It's going to be difficult. And it's going to crust. You don't want crusty cakes.
right, I know what all of that means.
Yes. Yes. Keep
just
stirring.
keeps doing it. Yeah, it just keeps on stirring. It's like, how long? How long?
Keep stirring. Keep stirring. It's kind of like Fiend meanders
Or
off.
roughly how long? Hey,
He has a full plate of halfling cake he's now starting to dole out to everybody.
what the fuck?
As you're starting to dole out the cakes and you're kind of gathering around the fire that's starting to dissipate at this point, starting to munch down, you notice Zarbok kind of just like waddling back and forth between like a little dry patch of grass to practice his firing with his bow. And you look at the bow and he's just like, doesn't seem to be too impressed. And then he kind of waddles over to the tree and just places his stubby little off-white stock hand onto a root that then kind of winds itself out of the ground, and the end of the root kind of kips up in this curved like motion and then kind of dries itself out and shrinks, so it's a tiny little twisted twig, and then the root kind of narrows down. Thank you. Gets out some string, sits down.
Farrell's watching completely enamored. Like, this is like Farrell's just not paying attention to anything else but this.
Starts to twine the bow, and then takes a few steps back from the tree. Starts to aim at the tree of infinity. Goes straight and true. Does not peter off. And as soon as the arrow hits the tree, Zarbok teleports from where he was to the arrow and is sitting on it.
Oh,
Like,
that's better.
Farrell out loud. What?
That's a lot better. That's a lot better.
What's happening? Sorry, I'm
Starts to pat the tree bark.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm keeping
Taking off
this
from the rope,
mushroom.
from the arrow.
No,
I'm keeping him.
no,
Yes.
not. They
He
are a
teleports.
person. They are a person. They are not to be.
They teleport,
it's not.
Tarek.
They are a free, willing being.
Right. They can freely,
I'm
willingly
just gonna
come
try-
with us.
Correction. Correction. I am not a person.
Okay.
I'm just gonna turn and look at him and be like, "Actually, are you free?"
You're not a person, but we'll figure that logistics later. Anyway, I want
Wait.
Does he answer that question? When I ask him if he's free.
You want the thing to venture with us.
Are you sorry, Tarek? Are you asking if the mushroom is free to talk to you, or
No, free
Or-
as in like he. He was saying it was like a free being, and he's like, "Wait, is he actually free, or is he?" Does
So
he belong to, like,
you said you referred to him as a person. He said, "I am not
Yeah.
a person."
Okay, but are you a free being?
Yes,
Oh, good. Okay,
I am a campus tree.
you're a what?
He's a tapestry, not to be confused with tapestry.
Right.
Right. Farrell, what you're saying is you want this tapestry to adventure with us.
Possibly. You're going to tell me that wasn't impressive?
No, I'm a professional at getting things to adventure with us.
Right. I mean, you are that.
Right.
Right. I guess.
You want me to talk to the tapestry?
It depends on the meeting with the tree goes. You know, like maybe.
Yeah.
Tapestry, to the tree.
That was quite real.
It was quite real.
Real.
Can't understand it.
They're saying you're rude.
Oh, well, that's a given. Your tree doesn't think so. So.
Violent diplomacy.
As you say that, the grass underneath you, Fiend, that was once bright green and full, just starts to grind down into this darkened brown and red coloration.
That could be one of two things. Tree, I'm sorry. It was. Or you, inside me, stop putting out such negative energy.
Do you say that out loud?
He says the tree thing. Tree, I am sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. And then he just the things on me.
Just mumbles it to yourself.
Yeah, just mumbles it to myself.
Okay.
I'm the fool of the mushroom.
You get it this
You're
time.
being weird. You're being weird. I'm following the mushroom. As if that's more of a normal thing to do.
Would you like to start the first test?
Tarek is going to stop stirring.
It's going to get crusty. Yes, we would like to start the first.
Yes.
Yeah.
You treat me, Fiend.
Sure.
I trusted you.
It was a horrible mistake, really. Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Puts back the cloak behind him, sort of cinches on the bow around their tiny little shoulders. Kind of, it's a bit awkward because it's got to miss the giant mushroom cap on their head.
Okay. Are we all ready?
Yes.
Excitingly so.
Okay. So, the tree of infinity, the very sacred ancient being, inside is a demi-plane.
Right.
Oh. You hear? You can hear me.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. It is a demi-plane.
Demi-plane. Got it.
To enter such an ancient demi-plane, you have to be pure of heart and wipe your mind clean.
We're royally fucked.
Wait.
Oh, none of us are getting
I'm
it.
sorry. Clarification on the wipe your mind clean thing. I had that done once before. No, thank you.
I think
sorry.
it means blank mind, not forget everything you know, but at peace with your mind.
Is
It's
that
okay.
true?
I have very old, sacred ways of figuring this out. Okay?
It's the mushrooms, isn't it?
Can I insight check this thing?
Yeah, same. With the
Sure.
mention of memory wiping, possibly.
He didn't mention
Tarek.
memory wiping.
Yeah, he didn't
Just
mention
said you have to be of pure heart
Yeah, that's
And-
funny.
23.
And clear mind.
and a clear mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You interpreted that as wiping your memory.
I just want to make sure
PTSD.
they have good intentions. I don't
Okay,
care about the process. I just want to make sure this is legit.
Yeah.
23.
23.
23.
Mm.
This thing is literally the most pure of heart, happy, go lucky little guy. No malice, no intention.
Okay.
He speaks only the truth.
Okay.
This is an altruistic mushroom.
Aw. I am what I am.
I have a way to be able to decide which amongst you is able to enter such the realm. Okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Who
You
wants
see
to
you
go
over
first?
Ranch.
I'll go first so that we could just not
Yeah,
waste
definitely.
time.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, it's been a while since I've done this. Okay. You,
Hey,
Fiend,
yes, sir.
Mr. Fiend. Okay. I'm tall when I'm young, and I'm short when I'm old. What am I?
Riddles. You're a riddle. You're asking me a riddle. Understood. Got it. You're tall when you're young and short when you're old.
Yeah.
What are you?
That is what I said.
A shadow?
Ha! No.
Damn.
2, 1 out of 3. Second try.
Oh.
Fist bump. There we go. Outsmart me once. Shame on me. Outsmart me twice. You'll die.
Oh.
What have you?
Second try.
Let's do it.
Okay. Same question.
What?
Try another answer.
This is.
I'm guessing we can't help each other if we know the answer.
You're asking me if I want to know if I have the answer for the same question.
Yeah.
Do I have a moment to think about it?
I can ask another person a question if you like.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask another person a question.
Okay.
Jesus.
Who
Yeah.
else?
I'll go.
Okay.
Same question. What different?
Take off my skin, and I won't cry. But you will. What am I?
Why would you remove someone's skin?
I know, it's really gross.
What?
I don't
How?
think they mean a person, Derek.
But they have skin with.
Yeah, but what?
Oh, I know. And the single brain cell in Tarek's head hits the side, and there was a single thought. And he goes, onion.
Correct! You did it, you beautiful bastard, you. Okay,
What did you call me?
who's next?
It's learning from me.
Just fucking Howard. What did you call me? Doesn't even look at me.
Anyone?
We're strange.
I'll go. I'm not good with riddles, but
Okay.
We'll
Neither am I.
have fun.
I drive men mad for love of me. Easily beaten, never free. What am I?
Can you repeat that again?
I drive men mad for love of me. Easily beaten, never free.
Is it beaten, never free, easily beat? I don't know. That kind of sounds like. Is it money?
Oh,
Am I? Am I?
OMG.
Little. Go.
go! Yes, it is goal, you smarty patootie. Good job.
Yeah.
Breaks his little mushroom arm.
No.
Do you actually like slap it that hard?
No, just a little
Okay.
tap. I don't want to hurt him. He's so cute.
Little nub. Boop.
Yeah.
All right, that's 2 out of 5.
I'll go.
Okie dokie. My life can be measured in hours. I serve by being devoured. Thin, I am quick. Fat, I am slow. Wind is my foe. A candle, you cannot keep this until you have given it. It's a bit of a long one.
Yes, it is. I felt like I knew all the other answers, and now this one's the only one I don't know the answer to. Oh, good. Can you repeat it?
Oh, sorry, I got 2 mixed up there. I will make this shorter.
I was like, that's so much to remember.
You cannot keep this until you have given it.
That's it?
That's it. I got it messed up. I'm fairly newly born.
Okay. You cannot keep this until you give it?
You cannot keep this until you have given it.
She's stupid. Love.
Do you want a minute as well?
Yeah.
Okie dokie, no problem. Last one?
Yeah, that'd be me.
Okay. A cloud was my mother. The wind is my father. My son in the cool stream, and my daughter is the fruit of the land. A rainbow is my bed. The earth my final resting place. And I'm the torment of man. What am I?
My first thought was rain.
Another winner.
Good job there. Waddles over to you and just like hugs your shin a little bit and like pats you on the calf.
Oh, Farrell, instinctively, not even thinking about it, just reaches down and goes, pat, pat. And then she's like,
All right.
Is it trust?
No, so close.
I don't know what the answer is to this.
You can roll a history or intelligence.
Ooh, I'm sure that'll go real good.
Are we allowed to help each other?
Yeah, Tarek did ask
hasn't
if he
said
was allowed to
anything
help
other-
and kind of shrugged. So.
Okay, I'm gonna do a history check because that's better for me. Fuck, it's only a 19.
Only a 19. Jesus Christ.
Hey, last time I did a 20, it didn't hit, so.
You are on the money. It is
But
within that
something
realm.
Like a secret? Or a
Same kind of
promise?
thing along those lines of your trust.
Damn it.
You give your trust. What else can you give to someone in that sort of same realm?
Like a secret? Or a promise? What else is there that's on that same line?
it's time.
What?
I don't know what this sign means to you. I gotta be honest.
I'm forming a W.
Oh.
Ugh.
Your word?
Hey, there you go.
Easy,
Good job.
crazy.
You almost got there. I knew you could do it. I knew you could do it. As
I
long-
guess I'm just not as pure of heart as we thought.
Oh, Farrell's sitting there just like, this is not.
Did you have some
I
time
knew the
there,
answer
Mike?
to every other ones.
Did you have some time there to figure it out there, my friend?
Yes, I did. And it was only because of your own mistake.
Uh-oh.
Right, you thought too long and you spoke too much when you gave Ramira hers. Something that is told her when it is young and shorter when it is old as a candle.
Oh, shucks! I thought I was gonna get you with that one. You all passed! Hooray! Good job there, everybody.
Yes.
You don't actually need to do this to get into the tree. I just wanted to have some fun. Okay.
What?
Let's
You just
go,
see Fiend
everybody.
go back like he's about to punt this mushroom.
Just look at Fiend and be like, later, together.
Together then.
Together.
Dinner.
Absolutely not. Leave my mushroom bean alone.
Fiend, can you teach me how to make a mushroom stew later? He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that.
So strange.
Yeah.
Can I have the mushroom crown, please?
That is a rose crown.
Oh. Rose crown, please.
There you go.
Pullets. I love the little pullets.
Yeah, here you go, buddy.
Like I'd wear a fungus.
Just kind of little stubby arms outstretched, kind of brings it over to the trunk of the tree and snaps off one of the sort of spiked stems that makes it look like the crown. Puts the crown down the ground, snaps off that pointed twig. Begins to draw a small door at the trunk of the tree about his size, almost like tracing it with chalk. A faint green line of energy follows the trail as he digs this twig into the bottom of the tree.
You're gonna need to get a lot smaller if you're gonna come down here, please.
Oh, no worry. I'll be down there in a minute.
Can you just make it bigger?
I'm only this big.
Right.
Look, can you
Here,
give
what
me
if
the stick?
or we pick you up and just
Okay.
okay. Uppy. Phil, like very awkwardly picks him up.
So as you pick up Zarbok by its fat little stem body, holding the twig out, you kind of, with his body...
This is the most awkward that Farrell has ever felt because she has not held a child since her own sister.
Oh,
So she's like, I'm gonna drop him. I'm gonna
We
hurt
got
him.
some wonky Sesame Street style door.
Yeah.
And as you trace it down,
Like
what design do you make the door? Do you make it like a rectangle? Do you make it like a circle?
I think she's just doing like an arching doorway.
So you make a second arching doorway with the small square one still in the bottom.
Oh,
You put Zarbok down.
All
her
right,
shoulders
everybody.
are so tense. Like,
Are you ready?
sure.
as I'll ever be.
I think the last person that came in here was... Oh. Memory's not back yet. That's fine. We'll figure that out later.
Starts to walk towards his small door.
That's suspicious.
Opens up the bark. Walks into the giant tree trunk of the Tree of Infinity.
I open my door.
All right. Push it through.
Ladies first, looking to fiend.
Age before beauty.
Then I guess you'd also go.
Strange just walks in.
I was gonna. Ramira just walks in, like, come on.
Okay.
As well.
So as you start to walk in, you sort of, the light emanating from outside kind of goes into a bit of a dark scene. All you see before you are like wicker woven steps that kind of, with each step that you see Zarbok take, these fairly large widened steps like wrap themselves together with each step you take. You can sort of see several feet down to a bit of a light glowing, like a good 50 feet downward, but all around you is just dark emptiness. As you start to follow Zarbok down, boop, hits the top of his mushroom cap, and the little white dots glow, this effervescent neon green, almost like a night light, glow in the dark color.
Farrell has never felt so much love in one moment.
Carrick hates him, but Ben loves him.
Boop, boop,
Farrell doesn't
boop,
understand these feelings of emotion. She's just like, oh my god. Respect.
boop, 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 boop.
I'm keeping him.
No.
You all start to follow down the steps. The door is at the top of the tree. Close behind you.
That's ominous.
Foreboding, even.
And as you make your way further and further down, leads into this fairly open, lit lobby. Ancient stones, cobblestone on the floor. Kind of imagine two walls in a circular sort of arrangement. Several stone statues on either side of these curved stone walls. On the other side, at the bottom of the steps, a elegant, beautiful doorway wrapped in old bark and vines and twigs with a bit of a golden metal tapestry kind of underneath that outlines the archways of this door. And it's fairly big. It's probably like 15 foot high, fairly wide. On the other end, you can see that there are several scenes carved into and around the door, all depicting portrayals of two or more humanoid figures standing in groups. Several races are represented among the figures. You see humans, dwarves, elves, gnomes, halflings, tieflings, dragonborns, orc, Goliath, Aarakocra, giants. All kind of mixed together, sort of seemingly speaking to one another, and then as it gets closer to the center of the door, what's sort of outlining that center line where the two doors meet is the Tree of Infinity. And a few figures kneeling down, hands up, paying homage to the tree. None of them wearing armor, none of them wearing modern clothing. Very, very ancient and old.
So is there a handle on this door?
No.
How do we get in there?
Is
Sava?
there any markings like words or anything along the outline?
Make a perception check.
Okay. Farrell
And
has
yes,
a thought.
Ben, I know you have eyes of the Runekeeper before you say.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say that. I didn't even think about that. But thank you for the reminder.
Mm-hmm.
24.
24. Looking at the door itself, there doesn't seem to be any runes or writing of any kind. But you do notice the various statues kind of aligned in a curve on either side of the door, of the stone walls here.
Mhm.
The statues are all varied sizes and shapes. One is a smiling halfling lifting a mug of ale in the air as a toast. The other being a elven ranger with a bow and quiver slung across her back, arms spread wide in a friendly gesture. Another a majestic stag deer looking into the distance, large antlers almost touching the ceiling of the room. A tall dragonborn barbarian-looking figure wielding a two-handed axe and holding it in position to swing downwards with a ferocious attack. Another, a human bard, sitting on a stool, strumming a lute. She wears a fancy cap with a feather in it, and her mouth is open in song. The final statue, a dwarf priest in long flowing robes with hands folded in prayer and a key hanging from his belt. In all of these statues, there are writings underneath them.
I would like to look at the writings. First, see if
Which one would you like to go to first?
I would like to go in classic Farrell to the bard.
Okay. Going over to the bard, which is in common,
Oh.
says one word. the.
Could you all very quickly look at the rest of the statues to see and tell me what the writings are?
Tarek will look.
Pick one.
Same.
Okay. Going around with Tarek's Eyes of the Runekeeper, no checks are to be made.
I can see far.
These various scriptures on the bottom of these statues are all one word each, written in their native languages. Halfling, Elvish, Sylvan, Draconic, and Dwarvish. The words that are depicted on each of them, you have the word thee, we, together, all, are, and key.
Tarek will kind of repeat those out loud, and we'll also
we are all the
say
key
what
together.
language.
Yes.
Together we are all the key.
Together we are all the key. There you go.
Perhaps.
And you all say that in unison?
I think once
Right.
you
Yeah,
realize
I think
that
we're all just
probably
the
instinctually,
same brain cell, just at the
Yeah.
same time. We just say it. It's like that's what I was thinking. That's what I was gonna say. Hey, look at that.
Ah, fuck.
Here's a
As
chance.
soon as you all kind of look over, have the words written down, all at the same time, you see, together we are the key. This golden light emanates from the center of the door, outlines the outside, the vegetation, the vines from the outside start to crawl and rip away, revealing the tapestry in full view. These doors open up. A bright, shining light peers out of the doorway, blinding you all instantly. It is super, super hard to see. It's like someone flashing a flashlight directly in your face. It takes a moment for the light to kind of dissipate. You hear the petering of the mushroom legs. Right over here, friends. Try to walk towards him, but still the light's blinding. Exactly. Jade, exactly. And you know that you trust Zarbok to walk forward. This warm, cold wind simultaneously comes through. And as your vision kind of comes to focus, the view around you focuses. As Zarbok leads you inside. Welcome, friends, to the realm of infinity. And as you enter this demi-plane of the Feywild, you are instantly engulfed with emotion as you look upon the beauty of the land in front of you. The scene is a sweeping chasm that encircles the area. Rising up from the bottom of where you are to the top is a cacophony of wondrous visages. At the bottom appears to be a bog. Dark coloration, a bit sticky, a bit muddy, a bit of green moss kind of floating, and a little shallow pool at your feet. As you look forward, that bog stretches out in front of you to a layer of palm trees. The base of their trees kind of covered with a mist that kind of becomes a dark red as it starts to be enveloped inside of the tree line. The second layer ascending up, a more bushy and bountiful set of trees, much lighter and green in tone, the ones underneath layer up top, along this crazy tall cavernous mountainside that careens all around. Third layer of trees above those, pinkish in hue, sweeping, drooping, floating all around. Various waterfalls can be seen flowing down in between them. And then on top of the chasm itself, stone and rock-like ruins, ancient and old, decimated through time, stand still in the blaring twin sunlight above. The sunlight beams out in between the mountain peaks, and various winged creatures fly above, dragon-like in form, but none that you have ever seen before. Their skin looking like infinite galaxies as you see stars and Milky Ways reflected in their scales, and you see comets moving, planets flowing within the scales themselves as they fly above. It is wondrous, ancient, and old, and it is breathtaking. Like going to Angkor Wat in Cambodia or seeing the Eiffel Tower for the first time. It takes hold of you, untouched by civilization.
Mushroom, why did you bring us here?
This is the realm of old, the realm of infinity. A time long before the schism happened. This is what the Feywild looked like in its inception. Hidden away in the one place it was birthed. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is.
Why is it hidden away?
She may be able to answer that for you. Come.
Starts to waddle out in front as the swamp and bog-like material begins to part as a tapestry waddles his way forth, creating this pathway of shallow water, clear and true, straight towards the palm trees in front of you.
I'm gonna as strange whether this is like, I think it's it's like they're not aware of it. They're gonna like stay behind and get close to Ramira and continue walking.
As the thing parts and Farrell's walking up behind Fiend, he just narcissistic duel of hands first.
Oh, that was mean.
Trin's just gonna look at Ramira and at the two like.
Look,
Tarek smokes a little bit.
just because I have a penchant for heads. God. As she literally has Sam's head swinging by her hip.
As like Strange kind of, like shuffles towards the back near Ramira. I don't know if they see this, but if anyone was paying attention, Ramira would like go to reach a pinky out to like hook pinkies with Strange, and then you see her hand hesitate and she puts it back next to herself and then keeps walking. Like, that's fine, I just keep walking.
Farrell's just going to lead front since Fiend wants to give her that.
Can I make a check on that if I notice it's strange?
Go for it. I'm gonna do my damnedest to roll stealth ?
What do I roll for that?
It'd be insight into deception.
Okay, well, I'm not good at either of those things. Deception. What is that number?
Farrell will go first, and then
Crisp 15.
That's a 17.
Damn it.
So they do notice. And as you're stepping forward, you start to notice the various layered coloration that's also adorning this various forestry and nature in front of you of untold ancient power. This sort of gleaming light shining from the bottom of the bog, various dark greens and blues, into that sort of red mist color at the base of the palm trees, going up to a lighter sort of jungle hue of green and yellow, into that vastness of those sort of phosphorescent pink sort of cherry blossom flavor on that third row, and eventually going up to a much more darker hue of clouds and sky, while the twin suns peek out low dusk light through the mountain caverns. Do you keep going forward?
Oh, Farrell was given, taking point by Fiend, and will go forward.
Tarek will follow as well.
She's a little bit enraptured and a little distracted, obviously. She'll continue forward.
I would love to know what is flying above us. Like, I know that is like Galaxy Dragon. I want to know for certain if it's Galaxy Dragon.
I think it's a Galaxy Dragon. Like I could.
You've
Galaxy
never
Dragon.
seen this before in your lifetime.
This sucks. Okay. All right. Fantastic.
These
I
are
suppose-
whatever these are ancient creatures that live in this plane.
Zarbok, are we going to have to worry about the Infinity Dragons?
Oh, no, they're okay. They're just ghosts.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
They can't harm you. They're fine. Don't give it a reason to.
So they can't harm you. We're fine, or don't give it a reason to, and then we're fine.
Just keeps walking ahead.
Okay, great.
All right.
Garlic
Don't
directly behind
don't-
them. So,
look, but don't touch.
Yes.
you know, I know you struck with that fiend. It's okay. We can have you put your hands in your pockets.
Touch, but don't taste. Taste, but don't swallow.
We're gonna keep walking now.
As you walk through this sweeping, ancient, beautiful terrain, start to make your way through that bog water into the base, the tree line of those palm trees with that red mist coloration adorning on the ground. As you get in further, you start to notice beings, humanoid creatures frozen in time, covered in moss, grass, vines, and wood, depicted in a multitude of forms and poses. Some rooted in the very base of the trees that you pass, with various root-like visages connecting them to the baseline of the trees, like vine works pulsing all over them, covered in green moss and wood and grass. Emerged into the very nature itself. Others standing in mid-walk, covering the gambit of centaurs, various creatures, animals, elven-like beings, and more. Eventually, you make your way toward the mountain face at the end of the forest, sort of where the rock wall kind of starts and starts to ascend up. And on all sides of this rocky, cavernous terrain, you notice dark pink and red flowers and vegetation crawling down the sides, probably coming down from that sort of top layer of those pink cherry blossoms, making their way down and have covered this sort of rock and cavernous terrain as it peaks down into a tunnel-like visage, into a smaller tunnel that goes and lies ahead.
They are ahead. This is where our meeting will take place.
Right, what are all of these kind of gesturing to the moss-covered people?
Oh. These are some of the first Fae that ever existed. Some are ancient beings, others, those who have passed away through the annals of time. People who have given respect and paid homage, laid the bodies to rest in the graves near the tree of infinity, to rest here for all time.
Wait, like they were buried near the infinity tree?
Correct.
Can I quickly make a perception check to see if there's any sign of anything mullet related?
Make a perception check.
Oh my god. Okay, all right, hold on. So that's 10 plus my perception is 8, so 18.
18. Through all the different humanoid figures kind of stuck in poses, sitting, standing, mid-walk, some entrenched and dug deep into the sides of barks, looking around, you do see a familiar pallid elf, up straight, twirling a gun like this, looking up.
Oh, wow.
Tarek will just look over and then just pat the same gun that he currently has on his
Farrell
belt.
is locked on this particular figure for a second.
Sir Strange?
So all those moss covered statues or these figures, they're fey or can Strange recognize any? I know this would be a tough sell, but at their time in the Feywild, would they recognize any of those faces?
Make a history check.
Let me go get my history. 27.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, dude.
I can show you. Like, hold on. Where is it? I don't know if you can
The
see
dice gods have prayed favor on your home terrain.
Yeah. I love this dice so much.
So looking around, as you see Farrell kind of walk out a bit, start to inspecting the other moss-covered beings, sees Mullet there. There's a bit of a moment caught up in the chest, sort of feels. You start to have that thought. You look around. And most of these creatures don't spark any memories or any thoughts. And you kind of look down, put your gaze to this body that's hunched with a hood that is kind of over their face in this kind of position.
Okay. I'm gonna go kneel and look him over, piquing my interest.
And you look down, and it's hard to tell detail through all the moss and grass vegetation that's now it consumed this body. But the face does look familiar to you. You get this flash. This memory rushes itself towards you. This old, almost granny-like humanoid of a hag rocking you back and forth inside the kingdom of Mithrandain. Brass and autumn coloration, a crib next to them with dark brown twigs and leaves adorning this beautifully crafted, made bed.
Okay.
And come back. And you tell it's a hag because it's not a old humanoid, a human granny. Definitely has dark coloration to skin, sort of a light blue hue. The face kind of shifts a little bit back and forth between kind of a sweet old granny face and like a little bit of a twinge of a cat eye in one eye. The cloak, dark, woven in, drapes down past their body. Long, spindly fingers, tall nails.
So they buried you here, huh? And Strange is gonna rise up and nod and simply continue on.
Okay.
Just a clarification, Kevin. Has Zabrak said they've mentioned this person that we're going to meet? Have they given us a name or anything, or they just
They just keep saying you're gonna go meet the tree. You're gonna meet with the tree.
exactly?
They did
are we
say
meeting
her. They said she.
Zabrak, you said she? Who?
At one point they said she, and then they said they.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back and forth a little bit.
Is Loki around? Can I
Seemingly, no.
take a gander to see if maybe Sam
Boom!
killed Loki?
Yeah.
Make a perception check.
Do they give me any sort of answer when I
That
ask
is-
them?
Sorry, Tark?
Do they give me any sort of answer when I ask them? When I ask Everett?
Were you asking him now?
Yes.
We're saying who are we going to?
Yeah.
You're gonna go meet the tree, my friend.
But we're in the tree. I don't.
All will be answered in good time, my friend. It's one of those things you just have to see to believe.
Well, I am seeing a lot and I am believing a lot, so. Right then.
Fiend, make a perception check.
SAS Dice rolled me a 3. That's why Quiznos was beaten out by Subways.
Okay. You look around through all the moss-covered, statuesque fey creatures. No gods of mischief around here.
Got it. He is still alive.
Okay. Moving forward.
Yeah. Continue forward.
As you keep proceeding, you reach kind of an end point with that tunnel. You see all those draped dark red and pink flowers draped over, covering the rock and mountainous terrain, going through yet another dark tunnel. You see a speck of light at the end of it. Do you proceed through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
As you go through the tunnel, and that small light at the end starts to come into full view, you step forward out of utter darkness towards the light ahead. You keep walking further until the light turns into the image of glass. The pool and the water beneath your feet reflecting the beam of light above. This circular beam that illuminates a single tree. A trunk that spirals upward with a phosphorescent glow of pinks, blues, greens, dark reds, orange colorations that glow from within the hedge of the top of this tree. The tree itself is surrounded by 4 stone pillars connected by ceiling arches, with wet moss climbing up the bottom of the water. Sir Strange.
So I figured out that this is the heart of the Feywild, correct?
Would seem so.
Going back to my memories, when the Oak Lord gave up Oswick to the Asgardians, there was a room that you depicted, which I believed was the heart of the Feywild, or that specific. Does this match this room?
Make a history check.
I'm expecting to roll bad with these dice. History check is for +7. 14 + 7. 21. Is that math? Yeah, 21.
As you enter into, again, another wondrous image in front of you, those sort of bushy leaves on top of the tree, almost like a bonsai tree, just swaying with color. You start to see figures ahead of you. The Oak Lord, Odin, crowd of Asgardians and a crowd of Archfey and Fey soldiers. A union happening as a small Fey baby is traded with the Asgard king, as Stormbreaker is handed.
Is everyone seeing this, or is it just Strange?
Just you.
So this room is where it all happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Strange doesn't say anything. Not yet, at least.
And as you stand there and see this visage, and these memories come to your fruition, as you all stand and gaze upon the Tree of Infinity itself, a voice comes forward. Frostbreakers, welcome.
Do
You look
any of
around.
us recognize this voice?
We all recognize this voice, I think, except for Strange Ramira.
Oh, no, it's not, is it?
I insight check the fuck out of this mushroom, Kevin.
Motherfucker.
It's not coming from Zarbok.
No, I know. I wanted to know if his intentions were good or not, and you said
They
he was an
were.
innocent
They
lad.
Well,
Word.
before you do that, Zarbok. Who's there?
No. Hammers out immediately.
What is this?
My friends, you've come a long way, haven't you? It's good to see you again. As
Is it?
this
Yep.
body starts to rise from the glass-like water near the roots of the tree. And standing in front of you, gleaming with green and gold adornments, with a fur-lined hood, holding an ancient old wooden being with a dagger directly to her heart, is Loki, Laufey's son.
Oh, shit.
Oh, it's worse than I thought.
Hello there, friend. It's quite good to see you again. And you brought some new friends too, lovely.
Again?
What?
Oh, you haven't told them about our union?
I've told them a little bit.
What is happening?
Well, I did tell you that I asked Loki to get me the heart of the Feywild, and last night I told the heart of the Feywild the same thing.
Bit of a perfect plan, really. I mean, the metal boy wasn't very expected, but you fight, you try, you get captured, you get taken into a demi-plane you've never been to before. Heard all the stories, though, of course. And then suddenly just stand, wait in darkness until lights appeared.
Fiend, you can ask them to stop, can't you? You can ask him.
Wait. Hold on. Why is Loki here?
Because Sam beat him.
No. Why is he here?
He was one of the only ones who knew how to get here, outside of Gloomwings.
Why is he here?
Now, Fiend, don't be so coy. Tell them the truth.
You remember why he's here? I told you in the tower when we were standing, and I gave you the Book of the Fae. And I told you all what happened here in the Fae. The reason why a child was traded. The reason why Odin isn't to be trusted. The reason why the Fae aren't to be trusted.
But you can tell him not to, can't you?
I feel like that's.
I think you're skipping a couple of details there, my friend.
Well, of course, I told them that I freed you. I did tell them. I did tell you.
Did you not tell them about our certain exchange? Our deal we made for said freedom?
Fiend.
I
I mentioned
mentioned
a deal.
Fiend. This is John. I am finding it a very hard time not smiling because this is incredible
Yep.
storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
I need to find my actor real quick. To just,
Yeah, who are you?
I just want to make this clear.
I
What I'm
mentioned-
doing is what Strange is doing.
I mentioned to Ramira I may not have mentioned to the rest of you that when I freed Loki, I created a words bond with Loki. Words bond means if you do not fulfill your end of the agreement, you die. I asked Loki to give me the heart of the Feywild and to free my father from prison. I was hurt at the time I made this. I was different. I didn't know what the heart of the Feywild was. I told her last night this could happen. I told her last night that I did not wish her any harm, and that I'd raised her daughter as my own. I believe the Tree of Infinity gave me forgiveness when she gave me that rose, because she already knew Loki was in her.
What was the specific wording of your agreement, Fiend, as the expert on deals? What was the specific wording?
Words bond. I free you, and you get me the heart of the Feywild and free
Right.
my father from prison when I call.
Tarek will turn to Loki and say, "You've fulfilled your part of the bargain. You have the heart of the Feywild here. Give them over to
not
Fiend, and
quite
then that's complete.
yet.
You don't have to do that."
No, 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 my dear stupid Asgardian boy. The heart is inside this being. I but have to just strike and carve it out, and then I will give it to Fiend.
The whole... You don't have to do that.
He
It sounds like
does.
you want to.
I believe I do.
The only way you could stop him is to kill him here now.
It's tempting.
If he refuses to take the heart from the Fey, he will die.
One small step, and the Feywild dies, friends. Sir Strange?
Strange looks at Fiend. And then looks at Rhaenyra. And faces back to Loki.
Well,
Cat got your tongue, friends?
Can you make a words bond?
Well, there is one thing we could try, since you all seem pretty agreeable at this moment. Mr. Fiend here could, if he so chose, to neglect said deal. Free us both from this bond that you created, and that will be that. Free and clear, my friend. Just say the words, and the bond is broken.
you'll kill them anyways.
Oh, come on now. I'm not that bad of a sporting chap. Now, come on.
Insight check.
I was also a liar.
Also,
You can
insight
check
check.
that.
You
bullshit.
can certainly try to insight check Loki.
God of lies.
God of lies.
I got a 24 for my insight.
I got a
Same actually. 19 plus 5. Insight,
But Loki
24.
can choose to roll deception.
yeah.
I know.
So I was like, he's literally the god of mischief.
I thought that Fiend only told Ramir that he sprung him out of jail, not the other part.
No, he told you specifically the other part because you when he told you that Buttermilk could have potentially died, he just spilled
Oh.
everything.
That's
Yeah.
right. Fuck, me, the player, forgot that. Okay.
Poor Buttermilk. Rest in
Poor
peace,
Buttermilk.
There's been a lot of things
Right,
going on.
There has been a lot of things going. She
Rest-
died. She came back. There's been a
Rest
lot.
in peace, Buttermilk.
Mr. Strange.
I don't want to roll a insight check because I already know Loki's full of shit. But I want to clarify. This is Strange remembers what Loki did to their home, to their mother, everything. What he did, what he caused. Him, Strange being traded off. I can remember that as Strange, right? I'm going to glance back again, not looking at anyone in particular. And they place their hand on their sword. And keep it there. They're shaking. They're trembling right now.
If you happen to look in Ramirez's direction, you can tell she is filled with terror and a remembering of, like, you can tell she had forgotten and then realized in that moment what that made her to you, and that would be like a liar or a secret keeper. And you realize, like, she's having this realization that she had just forgotten everything. I mean, she just wicked died and came back to life, but you forget things.
Yeah.
And you can see the terror of realization coming back to her as everything starts to hit her. And she turns to Fiend. I can't give you anything that you want. I don't know what to offer you. We can go get your dad. We can go get your dad like I offered to before, and we'll find something else to make it. Please.
No.
You.
I know you are. I know you're begging me.
And I will say, from those two very high insight checks, Loki's intentions are always hard to read. You never know if he's telling the truth, if he's lying, what angle he's got. But the one thing that Tarek does know, from hearing from stories, whispers of Loki from his time with the Asgardians, that if there's anything that Loki values more than anything in this world, it's his freedom. Absolute freedom.
Loki.
Yes, dear.
Would you accept a words bond atop this one?
No more deals. Please.
Tarek, this is my life.
No, I prefer my freedom. Thank you very much, my changeling lady.
What
Unless
if
you've
it
got
was
something better than that. I don't know what it could be.
an equal exchange?
Does that make me free from Fiend's bond?
Technically, yes.
How is that?
It would be a life for a life exchange. Technically, that suits the words bond.
My
No.
life's fulfillment is already done. I freed him, which means my part of the deal is complete. The only one who owes me their life is Loki.
But we could
Say
change places, Loki and I.
And you'd have to kill the tree. Fiend drops his staff and just starts walking.
One move, friend. Don't take a single step. And he starts to dig the dagger into the chest of the wood. The moment you drop the staff, it's gone in about 2 inches.
Loki,
Bright green light.
you
Starts to-
are that of a capital G. I can't hurt you. It took all of us to take Sam down. Without my casting implement, I can't hurt you.
Don't care. Stay there. Don't try anything.
New
Say it.
deal?
Say it. Say the words, fiend.
He
Rid
turns.
yourself of me once and for all, and I will just float on out of here like you never met me. Mischief will continue on in the wide world like it always has and always will. Because I will it so, because I make it so, because I will do anything to keep this god-override going. Say it!
Do I hear the voice in my head at all? He turns around and faces the rest of his party and goes,
You hear
This
another
was-
voice amongst the giggling. Fiend? Fiend?
What is this? Oh, what else is in my head?
Is that you, Fiend?
Yes, it's me. Who's in my head? Who are you?
I don't know how I'm hearing you right now. I'm sitting on the stairs looking out over the lake and I started to hear an echo.
There you go.
Are you in trouble?
Dire. Hathawin?
Don't listen to that little scrub.
Hathawin, can you hear me, Hathawin?
I think so.
I need help. I'm in trouble.
I-
If you'll
How
it's
do
your,
I...
your mother, Hathawin. It's your mother. It's the infinity tree of the Fae. You're 1,000 years old, Hathawin.
Mother? I have a mother?
A big, strong mother from everything. Everything was created from her.
I don't. You see the knife go in a bit deeper. Ah.
Your reincarnation.
What? What? Why does that hurt? What?
Fiend is looking at the rest of his party. I free you.
Say the words in detail, my friend. Every last syllable, every last word.
Why are you doing this? Why does this matter to you?
That is not an answer. Ah!
Turns to Loki. I free you from your words, bond. You no longer are held to me. Free the tree.
The tree starts to rustle back and forth as a wind sweeps into an area. Takes the dagger out of the wooden body. It's like getting a 45-minute back massage.
Yes, you're free.
Drops
I
the
hope-
knife. Disintegrates before it hits the ground.
I hold no ill will to you. We're done. Creator.
Until next time, Frostbreakers. See you on the other side. The body smashes against the water as Loki just disappears and evaporates before you. Breaks out into a cacophony of crows that float out towards the ray of light above. As the ripples in the glass-like pool float all around you. Saf.
Ramiro runs to the tree lady to try to heal her, like catch and heal her if she needs it, like whatever that looks like.
Tarek was gonna try to do the same.
Yeah, she just holds on to her and she's gonna cast. Well, she's gonna. use up her necklace charges first and just see if that does anything. So she pumps a first level cure wounds just to see what the status is.
Mm-hmm.
Tarek will just hold her.
Okay.
Mira's doing that.
So strange.
I'm gonna ask just a question. Loki left a dagger behind, didn't he?
It disappeared as he dropped it. Before it hit the ground, it...
Okay. So I'm just gonna stay put and just watch everybody.
Does the cure wounds help at all?
So as Tarek and Ramira rush over to this very old wooden being, you start to look up or start to look down at this body, and what you see is, it's hard to tell. It is, again, a mixture of wood-like textures, moss, vine, swamp-like materials. This face of a solid old bark, very pale brown, with various sort of spike-like growths coming out of the back of the head. This hood that kind of seems to emanate from the collarbone around, and a kind of hemmed net-like material. Spider webs and cobwebs and old frail bark flow down to a androgynous sort of body, with one arm that comes down with heavy moss adorning around the forearms. The other arm, almost tree-like itself, solid bark, doesn't even form a hand. It's just solid root that comes down to about 4 solid long appendages, not fully formed yet into a humanoid form, still growing and healing from whatever Sam had done. As the body goes down, almost like a long dress-like visage of grass and moss and twigs go downward. Various like animal bones and skulls kind of adorn the webbing as it goes down to feet that come out from underneath. And this sort of wound, this piercing from the dagger, you go to do cure wounds. What was the total?
Let's see, I didn't roll it. Sorry, give me 1 second. 8 points of healing. So 8. I think it's +5 question mark.
That dagger cinched
so 13.
inside from the wound. The mark just starts to tighten over.
Okay, and they're still hurt though.
They're just kind of there.
I'm so sorry. And she's gonna keep going and kind of see how.
Eventually, that sort of pale, light gray bark-like coloration becomes a bit more lighter, more brown-like. The visages of the moss growing a bit greener, the color of and her body kind of becoming brighter, signaling she's coming back too.
I'm gonna take care of you, don't worry. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna take care of you.
It's okay.
No, it's not okay. But it's going to be, and I'm gonna make it okay.
Oh, look at you.
These eyes kind of open up. Head kind of glazes over you all. Looks over at Zarbak. Runs over, follows over. My lady, are you okay? Has that scary thing hurt you?
I'm quite okay, Zarbak. Thank you. I'll be all right.
Farrell.
I'm going to, letting Tarek and Ramira handle that, walk over to Sir Strange and gently remove their hand off their sword. If they'll let me.
Strange loosens their grip, and everything just hurts. This room where they were given up, exchanged, used.
Oswick? Do not feel pain, my child. You are not lost or forgotten. You were baptized in these very waters so long ago. I never forget any of my children.
But in these waters I was baptized. In this place, I was exchanged.
Yes. A choice was made. One that cost me the will to live amongst the material plane and foster schism throughout the Feywilds. I miss those days. Simpler times. Before courts and competition took hold. But things go as they go. But that does not have to define you, Oswick. You decide who you will be in the end. Not by the byproduct and choices of powerful people, but what you will to be. You can choose to let the choices of these Fae, as guardians, define who you are, or you can define who you are. No matter where you've gone, what you've done, where you've been, I've been watching. You may have felt alone, but every time a rose bloomed, the grass grew greener, the wind became warmer, I was there with you. The Feywild grows in your blood, in your veins, my child.
You claim you were there. So then you know everything I've experienced. The loves that I've lost. The memories faded. This is not a life. It was never my choice. I can't do this. I don't want this. I want it to stop hurting. You were there, right? My father watching me. Hating the way I looked. Right? This Loki comes out of nowhere. Takes everything away. Everything. And I can't let these choices, these paths define me. It's all that I am. It's all I've lived. I tried to move on. I tried, but I just can't have it. I can't. I'm not allowed to.
Outstretched hand comes out towards you. That bark-like arm that is sort of malformed and not fully finished.
Come here, child.
Do you walk forward?
Strange. for a moment, looks at everything. Is this like for comfort, or is this more like...
Just an arm reaching out to you and says, "Come here, child."
Strange takes a step back. It hurts. And
You are an amalgamation of the scars of lesser beings, those who could not control their own emotions and made decisions and choices in pain, love lost, and so forth. It is not your fault. These things happening to you are not yours. You did nothing. The motion of worlds and realms move on, and we float where we float and we go where we go. You say you've been alone for quite some time. This curse that was brought upon you from the Prince of Frost. The will to forget, never to be hurt by love again. Since you've been back in your home, this curse has been alleviated. It cannot take place on this plane. Do you want me to bring it back?
Ramira makes dead eye contact. If they don't look at her, she doesn't necessarily force eye contact, but her eyes get wide as saucers as she looks over at Strange.
No.
And why is that? Is it because you have finally found the people you have been searching for all this time? The support you need and have been searching for since day one, even though you could not remember it yourself. The friendship of these wonderful people around you. Keep you headstrong. Help you to be more than you ever could be. Help to quell the pain inside that you feel. The family you've always wanted. The family you've always wanted to raise. I'd say you found it. You're not so quick to throw their memories away. That must mean something.
It hurts. It hurts more than anything else. But I can live with it.
And by this point, this being has stood up. Ripples in the water passing by your feet, mirroring the light above in the tree, the swaying of patterns of colors still going back and forth.
It hurts.
I know. It hurts. Sometimes a wound cut deep is hard to heal. You need the right tools, the right medicine, before you can be whole again. And I look around this room and I see those very tools around you. I can only do so much.
I know. As I said before, it hurts. But I can live with it. Because good comes from it. And I'm in a lot of pain right now. And I know what happens when I hold these in. I know what happens when I give up control to somebody else. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm letting go. Because holding on makes it more painful than it actually is.
You start to feel a rumble in your sternum, in your stomach. The skin underneath you starts to move like worms, sifting around underneath your skin.
No. No. No.
This pull, this conflict growing deeper and deeper into you. That choice to become free, to be in control, to not let anything take you over anymore. Roll a charisma saving throw.
Fuck.
Oh, you got this. Come on.
$11.
Your will trying to make this entity move out of you.
We can help. We can help you. We will give you the power to be free, and as much as you desire, do not let us go.
Strange. With all the pain that's welling up, the things that weren't said, the things that should have been said, being in the same room where that freedom was taken, Strange just starts yelling, "Get out! Get out!"
The room kind of starts to shake around you. This bile of black ooze falls out from your mouth, enters into the pool beneath all of your feet. The ripples in the water flow around. Well, that's new. As you see this black entity pop out of the water behind you and escape the way you came.
Can I do something to
shit.
get it? Can I use...
Make a dexterity check.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You suddenly rush up to it, grab it once more. This liquid oozing essence shifting and twisting all around. What do you want to do with it?
I'm gonna try and kill it.
How?
I have it in... oh, that's gonna be hard. Because it's affected. I'm gonna do... I'm gonna try and... I don't know. Smite it. Some
Roll to
way.
hit.
Don't fuck me now. Does a 22 hit? Oh, fuck.
You grab this thing, pull out your sword, gleaming radiant light. Ah! Huge smattering of thunder and radiance echoes throughout the chamber as a loud smash and thunder hits against this oozing sensation. A chunk of it cut off, fallen to the side. This bulbing black mass becomes bigger and humongous. Bunch of heads and eyes and toothly grins, white pointed eyes come out of the visage. Feral. roll me a history check.
Oh no.
Oh God. Okay. All right. What's my history? Hold on. 13 plus 2, so 15.
As this bulbous black inky mass starts to build and grow, various heads and amalgamations of humanoid features and forms start growing out of it. Hathaway kind of holding their chest and kind of hunkering down for a minute at the sight of this thing. This looks familiar to you.
I was about to say, is this?
Many, many months ago, you had a dream.
That's what I was about to ask. Okay.
You didn't know at the time what you were exactly looking at, but you remember a sea of stars on a floating rock.
Yep.
A long, blonde-haired
Yep.
muscle man with a hammer
Yep.
and a deafened warrior female with short pixie-cut hair flying off towards the portal, and this thing, multiplied by 50, came out of that portal. And it's here, everyone, that we gotta end the session, unfortunately.
Damn it, I know
I
exactly
was
what
like, is Farrell get the reaction when she realizes this?
I was gonna say.
We'll come back to that reaction next week.
Cool.
Are
Oh
you
my
hitting my
God.
dick right now? Oh my God.
Holy shit.
What a wild
The
time.
chat says Kevin
Oh
is best
my
DM.
God.
No, Kevin.
Just Jade out here breaking my heart with their acting.
They're out here like
That was
Kevin.
so
why?
good. Holy crap.
Kevin is best DM.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great session. Holy crap.
In clown.
So, yeah, that took a turn. But yeah, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm working on that for a long time. I was really nervous, and I'm glad it fucking worked.
The chat had said beforehand, like before the stream, they were like, "Oh, Kevin's nervous. Oh, this will be interesting."
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, everyone. Well, that is tonight's session of Beyond the Realms. We will get back to this next week, same time, same channel. We will wrap up Fiend's reaction. We will wrap up Farrell's reaction, all that and more next Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Once again, wash your hands, stay safe. See you then. Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful
Bye.
time.